Chapter 1166. Zhu Tian smiled and said, "Your Honor, it is just a title, there is no need to worry. Let's deal with the current situation first before thinking about other things." Yi Hua said lightly. "Yes. Your Honor." Yi Hua immediately rushed towards his mother's bedroom. Meanwhile, inside the bedroom, Lu Jing was also incomparably shocked when she saw Yi who had revived. However, this Yi had a different kind of flavor to her. Lu Jing didn't really like this Yi and felt that the previous Yi was better. Although she was stupid, she was very sincere. Meng Yao looked at the Empress Dowager in front of her and said lightly, "Empress Dowager, wasting your medicine is my fault. Therefore, as compensation, I will cure your illness, and you will no longer have any worries." At this moment, Yi Hua walked into the room and stood at the side, not saying anything. "Yi, what are you?" Lu Jing asked puzzledly. "Empress Dowager, I am not Yi right now, I am Meng Yao right now." "Meng Yao." Lu Jing mumbled. "I still feel that Yi sounds better." Meng Yao didn't say anything and stretched out her palm. A bright red flower petal condensed on her palm and Meng Yao said lightly, "This is the Bloody Sun cleansing flower, it can cure all poisons in the world." Yi Hua asked faintly, "It is actually a flower, why is it a flower petal?" Meng Yao explained slowly, "There is only one Bloody Sun cleansing flower, and it has 11 petals. This is the last petal, and there is no second petal in the world." Yi Hua remained silent and looked towards Zhu Tian who was at the side. Zhu Tian had done some research on this. Zhu Tian nodded his head. "I can give it a try." Yi Yuanqing who was standing at the side deeply wrinkled her eyebrows. "Is this flower petal really so mystical? I have never heard of it before." "Empress Dowager, please keep this flower petal in your mouth." Meng Yao said lightly and stretched out the flower petal in her hand. Don't look at how Meng Yao seemed to be talking about an ordinary item right now. However, if the news of this Bloody Sun cleansing flower were to be spread out, everyone would definitely go crazy and fight for it. There were a lot of people whose lives were on the line, and there were even more people who were waiting for the medicine to save their lives. The value of this flower was even higher than the things in Yi Hua's warehouse. However, the reason why Yi took out the Bloody Sun cleansing flower was because she wanted to cut off her identity as Yi and not owe anyone anymore. Lu Jing took a look at Yi Hua, and Yi Hua nodded his head. Lu Jing let out a sigh of relief, picked up the flower petal in Meng Yao's hand, and put it in her mouth. A refreshing feeling spread throughout his body in an instant. This refreshing feeling quickly solidified, and his body felt warm as if he was bathing in the sun. Yi Hua looked at the weak red light that was emitting out from his mother's body and wrinkled his brows as he waited quietly. Suddenly, a cloud of strange green smoke emerged from Lu Jing's head. Reaching out with his hand, Absolute Heaven made a grabbing motion, and a green smoke floated above his palm. "What poison is this?" Yi Hua asked gravely. Zhu Tian shook his head, "If Qing Su is here, he should know. Then let's keep it and show it to Qing Su when he returns." "Yes." Taking out a bottle, Absolute Heaven guided the cyan smoke into the bottle. However, the cyan smoke seemed to have a life of its own as it crazily smashed about inside the bottle. Yi Hua felt that the person who poisoned his mother was definitely extraordinary. Furthermore, to be able to master a poison that even I am unable to cure, this person's background is even more extraordinary. The main point is, why did he poison his mother? Why? Lu Jing's complexion became more and more rosy, and the wrinkles on her face gradually disappeared. Some of her white hair also became black, and it seemed as if she had become younger by tens of years. After a long time, Lu Jing opened her eyes. She felt that her entire body was relaxed. "It has been a long time since I felt this way." "Oh no, Meng Yao, thank you," Lu Jing said with a smile. "Even my son is unable to cure my mother, and yet, this Meng Yao is able to cure my mother. This is truly unbelievable." Yi Hua walked to his mother's side and asked with concern, "Mother, are you feeling better?" "I am feeling much better." Lu Jing patted on the back of her son's hand and consoled. Zhu Tian, come over and check on her. Yihua still needed to confirm that Lu Jing was fine. Zhu Tian walked respectfully to Lu Jing's side, and a white aura immediately wrapped around Lu Jing. After a while, Zhu Tian said respectfully, there is nothing wrong with Empress Dowager, she has completely recovered. Yihua let out a heavy breath. As long as my mother's illness is cured, the stone in my heart will be put down. Qian Yuqing was very happy. The illness that had been bothering my mother for thousands of years has finally been cured. Yihua looked at Meng Yao, and suddenly, he didn't know what to say. This woman returned evil with good, and ruthlessly slapped my face. I, the Supreme Overlord, have indeed underestimated her. Yihua was also a person who was able to let go of things. Since she had saved my mother, I naturally have to say what I have to say. Meng Yao, thank you. I owe you a favor. Yihua said calmly. To be able to save my mother, I, the Supreme Overlord, naturally wouldn't treat you unfairly. This was the first time that Qingye heard Yihua thanking someone. After all, the number of people that could make Yihua thank someone was very few, and the number of people that could make Yihua thank someone so sincerely was even fewer. However, Qingye also discovered that the current Yihua had become more mature. If it was in the past, Yihua would definitely be the kind of person who cared about his face no matter what. This kind of Yihua is the kind of man that I like, someone who dares to take responsibility for his actions and is never hypocritical. Meng Yao said calmly, there is no need to thank me, this is something that I should be compensating you for. Now, isn't it time for you to compensate me? After hearing what Meng Yao said, Lu Jing was confused. Meng Yao, what kind of compensation do you want? Tell me, I will do my best to satisfy you. Meng Yao looked towards Yihua. What do you want me to say? Yihua said gravely, if you were framed, and the evidence is conclusive, I will allow you to deal with it freely. All right. Go and call Yi Juetian and Gong Yu over. Yihua said coldly. For this Meng Yao to be so confident, it seems like there is someone behind this matter. Gong Yu? Is she that daring? Meng Yao said coldly, no need, I will personally go and call them over. After finished speaking, Meng Yao disappeared from where she was. Of course, she knew where Yi Juetian's bedroom was. Yihua, what is going on? Meng Yao went to look for Yi Juetian. Lu Jing asked worriedly. Yihua shook his head, Mother, Meng Yao went to look for Gong Yu and seek justice. Let us go and take a look, we have to treat this matter seriously. Qingye and the others nodded their heads. We indeed cannot be careless. I will go as well. Lu Jing said lightly as she stood up. Right now, her body was very stable, unlike in the past where she had a feeling that she was on the verge of falling. Yihua brought everyone and disappeared from the room and arrived outside of Yi Juetian's bedroom. At this moment, the door was already pushed open. Seems like Meng Yao had already walked in. Meng Yao had indeed walked in, and she was even looking at the man and woman on the bed. However, Meng Yao never expected that right after Yi died, you would actually be together with this woman. Yi Juetian. Do you still have me in your heart? Do I, Yi, have no place in your heart? Or could it be that the two of you are celebrating my death? Yi Juetian seemed to be able to sense that there was someone beside the bed. He closed his eyes and rubbed his forehead. End of this chapter. Chapter 1167. Yi Juetian slowly opened his eyes, and a blurry figure appeared in front of him. He furrowed his brows and rubbed his eyes. The blurry figure gradually became clear, and as it became clear, the expression on Yi Juetian's face froze. This is Yi. Who was this woman? Why did she look so much like Yi? Yi Juetian did not dare to confirm that Yi did not have this kind of aura. However, this woman's aura was very strong, and even her clothes were very luxurious. Yi had never been like this before. Who are you? Yi Juetian asked curiously. Why did this woman run into his room? Moreover, she was standing beside the bed. Could she be Yi's elder or younger sister? In Yi Juetian's heart, Yi was already dead, so how could she have revived? Moreover, Meng Yao and Yi's auras were very different, so Yi Juetian would not think otherwise. Hearing Yi Juetian's words, Meng Yao coldly laughed in her heart. Right now, she was standing in front of him, and he was asking her who she was? At this time, Gong Yu sweetly called out, "Zhu Tian." Yi Juetian's gaze focused, and a fiery body hugged him from behind. When he turned his head to look, he immediately cried out in surprise, "Gong Yu, why are you here?" Gong Yu said softly, "You're so annoying. You only know how to bully others." When Meng Yao heard this, she wanted nothing more than to skin this woman alive. However, Gong Yu slowly opened her eyes and was shocked to see someone standing beside her bed. When Gong Yu saw the woman in front of her, Gong Yu's pupils gradually shrunk, and with a shocked expression, she said, You didn't die. Gong Yu, do you want me dead?" Meng Yao asked coldly. At this moment, Yi Juetian was dumbfounded. He looked at Meng Yao in a daze. "You're Yi? You survived?" He, Yi is already dead. The one standing in front of you is called me. Meng Yao. Gong Yu's soul had already left her body. Her delicate body was trembling, and all she could think about was why she wasn't dead. Why did he come back? Why did she come back? However, Yi Juetian was even more dumbfounded. Where was he? What was he doing? Why is she sleeping together with Gong Yu, and furthermore, she's the kind that isn't wearing any clothes? Is the one in front of me Yi? Why was this happening? Put on your clothes and come out. Meng Yao said coldly. This was already the second time. The first time might have been Gong Yu's scheme, but this time. Was this also part of Gong Yu's plan? Caught red-handed in bed. Yi Juetian. What else do you have to say? I, Meng Yao, must be blind to have fallen for a man like you. Yi Hua and the others stood outside and waited. Seeing Meng Yao walking out with a gloomy face, Yi Hua wrinkled his brows. Little Tian must have been drunk yesterday, right? Could it be just now? Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji were also thinking the same thing. The two brothers were both drunk yesterday. Yi Hua is still fine, but could it be that Yi Juetian is? Not long after, Yi Juetian and Gong Yu walked out. Both of their expressions were not very good. Yi Juetian's mind was still in a daze, while Gong Yu was completely frightened. The smart girl seemed to understand something, and her face turned pale. At this moment, Yi Hua said gravely, Meng Yao, if you have anything to say, just say it. Meng Yao looked at the man she had once loved, and no longer had any lingering feelings for him. She turned her gaze to Gong Yu. When Meng Yao looked at him like that, he became even more uneasy. He felt that Yi had become more imposing today. That kind of killing intent was released without any concealment. This made Gong Yu feel uneasy. At this moment, Yi Juetian asked blankly, Are you really Yi? Everyone did not say anything. For something like this to happen, it might be heaven's will. This means that Yi Juetian and Yi are not fated to be together. Meng Yao said indifferently, It is no longer important whether I am Yi or not. I did not come here today to look for you. You are also not worth me coming here to look for. Yi Juetian was speechless. I only have myself to blame. I can't blame anyone else. Gong Yu, are you going to end your own life, or are you going to let me do it? Meng Yao asked. If not for this woman, I might not have gone to explain myself yesterday, and I might not have been disheartened. If I had stayed in the woodshed the entire time, I might have had a chance to turn things around. However, it was already too late to say anything now. Gong Yu stabilized her state of mind. Right now, I cannot afford to panic. Why do I have to end my own life? Also, who exactly are you? Is it Yi or someone else? Gong Yu was a smart person. I cannot continue being passive, I have to take the initiative to counterattack. Big Brother Emperor is standing at the side, which means that he is currently observing. As long as Yi does not have any evidence, I will be fine. Luckily, all of the evidence is gone. Yi, even if you are able to come back to life, so what? If you want to kill me, Gong Yu, do it in your next life. Meng Yao knew that Gong Yu was cunning. If not, when she was still Yi, she would have been tricked time and time again, and believed this hypocritical woman. I am Yi. However, my real name is Meng Yao. Meng Yao said indifferently. There is nothing to hide, this is my identity. Hearing that Yi admitted her identity, Yi Juetian's face became even paler. I am really unworthy. What face do I have to face Yi and do things that let Yi down? Gong Yu said with a slight smile, so it is Meng Yao, why are you pretending to be the weak Yi? Although Gong Yu's counterattack was very sharp, in actuality, everyone wanted to know the answer to this question. Going through tribulation was just Zhu Tian's guess. Meng Yao did not say why she was going through tribulation. However, the current Meng Yao did not plan to hide it anymore, and directly said, because I am going through tribulation. Hearing Meng Yao's words, everyone felt relieved. Normally, when going through tribulation, one would turn into an ordinary person and go through tempering. Everyone seemed to know what tribulation Yi was going through. Lu Jing also never expected that Meng Yao was actually going through tribulation. Truly, one cannot judge a book by its cover. Back then, I still thought that Yi was just an ordinary woman and was not worthy of Xiao Tian. However, only now did I know how powerful Yi was. It should be Xiao Tian who was not worthy of Yi. Qing Ye and the others had never thought that Yi was going through tribulation. Back then, they were still in favor of Yi Juetian, and Qian Yuqing was even more so. If Yi Juetian and Yi had gotten together back then, how great of a thing would that have been? However, Qing Ye and the others might not have thought that Yi was going through tribulation. Even if there was no tribulation, there would still be another tribulation that would separate them. If not, how could it be called a tribulation? This was all a plot that was arranged by the heavens. After Meng Yao finished speaking, she asked faintly, Gong Yu, you plotted against me time and time again, do you know your crime? Meng Yao, why would I plot against you? Did you misunderstand something? Gong Yu asked confusedly. Her expression was very on point. When a person is lying, their acting skills would instantly rise, and their intelligence would also directly soar to the top. Meng Yao laughed lightly. Look at this Gong Yu, even now, she is still stubbornly resisting. You are the one who told me. The matter about me being a spy. I didn't know about it before. Meng Yao said lightly. End of this chapter. Chapter 1168. Yi Hua's face sunk. I have never told anyone that Yi is a spy. Just now, I was still wondering how Yi found out about this. Could it be that Gong Yu was the one who told her? Gong Yu sighed softly, Yi, when did I tell you about this? Don't spout nonsense. Meng Yao knew that Gong Yu would deny it, so she continued, you asked me to appear yesterday and explain that I'm not a spy. You comforted me by telling me that it would be more effective if I explained it in front of everyone. But you also know that once I appear and explain this matter, the emperor will definitely be furious. You don't even need to do anything, just borrow the emperor's hand to kill me. You even came to induce me to commit suicide. That poison was also given to me by you. Hearing Meng Yao's words, everyone was shocked. Who would have thought that Gong Yu was involved in all of this? So Yi was a victim. Right now, Yi Hua's expression became grave. If the entire matter was manipulated by Gong Yu from behind the scenes, then that would mean that Gong Yu is challenging my bottom line. Gong Yu actually schemed against me, and the one who caused me to lose all face is actually Gong Yu. Hearing Yi Yi's words, Yi Juetian immediately believed her. He turned to look at Gong Yu and coldly asked, Gong Yu, you're not a good person. Isn't that right? Gong Yu immediately put on a wronged look, Zhu Tian, could it be that you don't believe me? I've always been helping you. How could I possibly harm you like this? Meng Yao laughed when she saw that Gong Yu was still putting on an act. Gong Yu, you're the best at making use of other people's kindness. I'd like to ask everyone, if I didn't have anyone to help me, would I have been able to get into the crowd of palace maids so easily? Even the clothes were prepared by Gong Yu in advance for that kind of occasion. I didn't expect you to accuse me like this. Did you misunderstand something? Absolute Heaven and I are already innocent, so don't be jealous, okay? I beg of you. She hugged Yi Juetian's leg tightly, as if she wanted Yi Juetian to say a few good words for her. However, Yi Juetian trusted Yi and didn't say anything. This made Gong Yu feel very sad. I've done so many bad things, but it's all for you. Do you think I want to do those bad things? I, Gong Yu, have never done such a shameful thing before. Why can't you speak up for me? Even one sentence would be good. Do you think I've sacrificed less than her? No. I, Gong Yu, have sacrificed much more. From a kind woman, she turned into a vicious woman. You forced me to do this. You only have yourself to blame. You're the one who came between me and Absolute Heaven. If you don't appear, how could Absolute Heaven possibly love you? Because he was jealous, he came back to kill someone. This reason seems to be quite sufficient. Yi Hua didn't express his opinion and listened quietly. Meng Yao felt that she had never met such a shameless woman who could turn black into white. Gong Yu, when I was in prison. After having sex with him, you even purposely used the copper mirror to let me see it, and after that, you even came over to console me. Gong Yu. You are truly so scheming. Is simply being played around by you, and I am even thinking of how to repay you, ha ha ha. While speaking, Meng Yao was laughing at herself. Hearing Meng Yao's laughter, everyone felt a sense of helplessness and sorrow. Yi Juetian once again looked towards Gong Yu, who was hugging onto his leg, seemingly asking if such a thing really happened. Absolute Heaven, I didn't do such a thing, I really didn't. I also don't know why Yi would want to fabricate such a thing, I really don't know. Gong Yu's tears flowed down like rain, vividly portraying the feeling of a wronged woman. Gong Yu, who was sobbing, looked towards Meng Yao and said while choking with sobs, I treated you so well, when you were on the verge of death, I was the one who came to save you, you can't wrongly accuse me like this. That's just because you didn't have an excuse to kill me, that's all. You have always been looking for an opportunity, and yesterday was the best opportunity. You let everyone know that Wushu Empire's emperor forced a palace maid to death. Meng Yao said gravely. Gong Yu's heart sunk, but she still said with sorrow, nonsense, what evidence do you have to prove it? Gong Yu, you finally said this. I don't have any evidence, because you have always been very cautious when doing things, and you have cleared away all evidence. After hearing what Yi Hua said, Gong Yu let out a sigh of relief, then shouted out towards Yi Hua, Big brother, I was wronged, I am innocent. No matter what, Gong Yu was still Yi Juetian's fiancé, so how could he kill her just because of a few words from an outsider? It was very sloppy. Yi Hua asked gravely, Meng Yao, you don't have any evidence? I don't have proof, but Empress Qian Yuqing does, Meng Yao said. Qian Yuqing was stunned. Since when did she have evidence? Everyone looked at Qian Yuqing. Even Gong Yu looked at Qian Yuqing in disbelief. Since when did sister-in-law have her own evidence? Impossible. He did not leave any traces behind. Meng Yao said softly, Empress, please lend me the heart gem from yesterday. Following Meng Yao's words, everyone came to a sudden realization. Meng Yao indeed did not have any evidence, but the spirit gem was meant to deal with situations like this. When Gong Yu heard about the spirit gem, she was dumbfounded as if she had been struck by lightning. Yesterday, Gong Yu had seen the spirit gem, and because Yi had used it, her identity had been clarified, but today, she used the same method to deal with him. You lowly servant. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have saved you back then. I would have let you die in pain. Qian Yuqing passed the spirit gem into Meng Yao's hands. Meng Yao held on to the spirit gem and walked towards Gong Yu. The grievance on Gong Yu's face completely disappeared, and what replaced it was fear. If Big Brother Emperor were to find out that I was the one manipulating everything behind the scenes, I will definitely die. Yihua looked at Gong Yu, who had a huge change in expression. He already knew the result. I completely didn't expect that Gong Yu was the one manipulating everything behind the scenes. The matter that happened yesterday caused my Wushu empire to become a laughingstock. Everyone said that I am awesome, yet I forced a palace maid who doesn't even have the strength to truss a chicken to death. I was actually used as a knife by this Gong Yu. This is simply a humiliation. Everyone looked at Gong Yu, who had a huge change in expression, and found it hard to believe. In everyone's eyes, Gong Yu's image was that of a gentle and virtuous woman. I completely didn't expect that Gong Yu actually wanted to borrow Yihua's hand to kill Yi. Yi Juetian looked at Gong Yu, who was beneath his feet, especially that expression of fear. I already know. This woman caused Yi's death. Why does she have to be so cruel? Just how did Yi offend you? You made Yi hate me, you didn't allow me to look for Yi, and you made up such a reason. Now that I think about it, it is truly laughable. If I didn't pay attention to Gong Yu back then, the ending might not have become like this. End of this chapter. Chapter 1169. Yi Juetian shifted his feet, but discovered that Gong Yu was hugging him tightly, very tightly. Of course, Gong Yu could only do this because she felt that only Yi Juetian could save her. Meng Yao stood in front of Gong Yu and stretched out her hand. The heart gem was especially eye-catching in Gong Yu's eyes. Why does such a stone exist in this world? It was all fake. It was all a lie. Gong Yu, prove your innocence. Meng Yao said indifferently, but her eyes were filled with killing intent. Today, Gong Yu must die. Gong Yu didn't reach for the heart gem. Qian Yuqing and Yi Yuanqing couldn't help but think of Huang Yun. On that day, he didn't dare to take it, because once he took it, all of his lies would be revealed. However, Gong Yu was the same today. Lu Jing sighed softly. Daji, help me back. Yes. Daji respectfully supported Lu Jing and left. Lu Jing no longer wanted to watch. The truth was already in front of her. This woman had harmed his two sons. There was nothing to pity. Looking at Gong Yu, Meng Yao asked, Gong Yu, what's wrong? Prove your innocence and let everyone know that I wanted you dead because I was jealous. Gong Yu's face was deathly pale, and she did not pay any attention to Meng Yao. She hugged onto Yi Juetian's leg and pleaded, Juetian, I didn't do it, you have to believe me, I really didn't do it, help me please, help me say something, okay? Yi Juetian said gravely, Gong Yu, hold on to the spirit gem and prove yourself. No. This thing is fake. It's fake. You can't believe it. Gong Yu roared, her delicate face contorted into a sinister expression. Looking at her big brother emperor, who was not too far away, Gong Yu frantically crawled and hugged onto Yihua's leg while begging, Big brother, you have to believe me, I didn't do such a thing, I won't harm you. Gong Yu, who was crying like rain, raised her head and looked towards Yihua. However, there wasn't a single bit of ripple on Yihua's face. This caused Gong Yu to be extremely afraid as she knelt beside Qin Ye's feet. Sister-in-law, save me. I didn't do it. Qin Ye remained silent and slowly turned her head away. Gong Yu then kneeled in front of Dong Huang Baiji. Sister-in-law, I beg of you, can you help me say something? I beg of you. I am Zhu Tian's fiancé. Why don't you guys help me? Gong Yu crawled in front of Qing Yutong, then crawled in front of Qian Yuqing. However, no one said a single word, because the truth was right in front of their eyes. This woman had turned Voidless Empire's royal family into a heartless empire, and she had even become the joke of the entire northern region, becoming the laughing stock of the people. Just because of that bit of jealousy, Gong Yu's knees were already scraped. She slowly crawled in front of Yi Juetian, raised her head to look at Yi Juetian, and said in a low voice, Juetian, why didn't you guys help me? Why did you join hands with outsiders to bully me? Gong Yu put her hands on the ground, crying loudly. Gradually, she stood up, looked at everyone and shouted, it was you who brought me here. You made me leave my parents. You were the ones who forced me to marry him. Now you want me to die. How could I, Gongyu, resist? Do you know the poison I gave Yi? So it's for myself. I like absolute heaven, I love him. I would do anything for him. But this woman. Yet, he appeared between me and absolute heaven. Yi Juetian. Do you even have me in your heart? For you, I went to hell. As for you. Yet, from start to finish, you never even looked me in the eye. She sacrificed herself for you. Can't you see that I sacrificed myself for you? Why do you only have her in your eyes, and not even a bit of my shadow? Why do you have to be so cruel to me? All of you are bullying an outsider like me. Gongyu roared and questioned Yi Juetian, revealing all of the grievances in her heart. After hearing what Gongyu said, Yi Juetian went into a daze. He remembered that back then, he was the one who called Gongyu over. When he first came over, Yi Juetian felt that Gongyu was a good girl. However, he didn't expect that Gongyu would walk step by step into the abyss. Yi Juetian looked at Gongyu who was beside him. She sacrificed herself for me, is she wrong? She used extreme methods, and her goal was to get rid of the Yi in my mind. However, I, Yi Juetian, only like Yi. If I were to say that I was wrong, I shouldn't have chosen any girl's name back then. I should have bravely told big brother, sister-in-law, and mother that I have a woman that I like, and that woman is called Yi. Perhaps, that would have been the best result, no one would have been harmed. From Gongyu's point of view, there was nothing wrong with her loving Yi Juetian. However, what was wrong was that this was an ill-fated relationship, and both of them were harming each other. Women are able to understand women, Qingya, and the others seemed to be able to understand what Yi Juetian was saying. Of course, Donghuang Baiji was also one of them. Back then, when the two of them bumped into each other, how could they not have any thoughts towards each other? After all, there was only one man in the world, and both of them wanted to have one for themselves. However, back then, Yi Juetian's attitude was unyielding. I, the Supreme Overlord, want two women, so what can I do? However, Yi Juetian was different. Perhaps, he wasn't as fickle as Yi Juetian. He was single-minded towards his feelings, and he firmly believed that Yi would be Yi. If Yi Juetian was also fickle, he would probably be able to have two beauties in his embrace. After all, what Gongyu cared about was that Yi Juetian didn't have her in his heart, and Yi was the kind of girl that was easy to talk to. However, it was a pity that one's personality determined everything, and from the very start, it was already a tragedy. Right now, Gongyu had already admitted to her crimes, and everything that happened was premeditated by her. As for who was in the wrong first, it was already unclear. When Meng Yao heard Gongyu's complaints, she felt a bit moved in her heart. Gongyu was brought into the palace, while I entered the palace willingly. Being surrounded by this square-shaped palace, who would be able to understand the pain I had to endure? However, the matter of Gongyu framing me was a fact. It was something that couldn't be erased. A pitiful person would definitely have a hateful side to them. Yi Hua, how do you plan to deal with Gongyu? Qingya quietly walked in front of Yi Hua and asked in a low voice. To be honest, Gongyu's crimes were clearly punishable by death. After all, she had brought shame to the entire Wushu Empire. However, can I blame all of this on Gongyu? If you didn't have those pedantic thoughts back then, would Gongyu have become such a vicious woman? From being kind to being vicious, there is a process, and no one is born to be a vicious person. Yi Hua slightly wrinkled his brows. If this matter had happened in the past, I, the Supreme Overlord, would definitely have killed Gongyu. This matter concerns the honor of the entire group. However, I, the Supreme Overlord, am also at fault in this matter. I forced Gongyu too ruthlessly, if not, how could such a situation have occurred? In actuality, the matter that happened yesterday was all caused by me. In fact, I feel that the reason why Gongyu became so vicious is also because of me. End of this chapter. Chapter 1170. Originally, there was a better solution, but it was useless. In the end, it made everyone unhappy. At this moment, Donghuang Baizhi walked over and asked softly, Yihua, can you deal with this matter leniently? Gong Yu indeed deserves to die, but she only cares about little Tian wholeheartedly. Yihua took a deep breath. If I don't kill Gong Yu, wouldn't it seem like I have become kind-hearted? But, if I kill Gong Yu, wouldn't I be too vicious, too ruthless? A woman was captured by me, came here with the determination to die, but ended up falling in love with little Tian, and because of my stubbornness, she ended up walking onto a path of no return. How do you all think we should deal with this matter? Yihua asked gravely. Qingye and Donghuang Baizhi took a look at each other. Donghuang Baizhi had experience in this aspect, and she said softly, what Gong Yu did indeed has a huge influence, but in actuality, we are also at fault. We shouldn't let her bear the responsibility alone, don't you think so, Yihua? Hearing that, Yihua let out a breath. What Donghuang Baizhi said is right, Yihua has no choice but to consider it. Qingye sighed and said, Yihua, Gong Yu was, after all, brought into the palace by little Tian, but little Tian doesn't like her, which is why he did such a thing. No matter what, she is still little Tian's fiancée, killing one of our own, it seems a bit. Qingye didn't finish her sentence, but she was also telling Yihua that Gong Yu didn't deserve to die. Suddenly, a terrifying aura spread out. Yihua raised his head and took a look, and his expression became grave. Xian Yuqing and the others looked at Gong Yu in disbelief, as if they were looking at a second Yi. This terrifying aura was being emitted out from Gong Yu's body. Right now, Gong Yu didn't have the slightest bit of reluctance, and her body was emitting out a faint white light. Gong Yu herself had the strength of an overlord, but right now, Gong Yu chose to end her own life. To her, yesterday and today were like heaven and hell. In this palace, there was nothing for her to miss anymore, even if it was the man that she deeply loved who was just standing at the side and bullying her together with Yi, everyone was the same. At this moment, Gong Yu said lightly, you all don't have to do it, I will do it myself. You all should be satisfied now, right? Gong Yu looked at Meng Yao and said faintly. Meng Yao was speechless. However, Yi Juetian who was standing at the side felt very uncomfortable. This was the first time he heard Gong Yu's thoughts, and he was very astonished. I completely didn't expect that Gong Yu would think like this. She did so many things, and it was actually all for me, all for the sake of making Yi disappear from my mind? Yi Juetian was unable to accept this kind of ending at all. He had plotted against Yi for his sake. Did that mean that he had also indirectly caused Yi's death? Did Gong Yu treat him well? Thinking about it now, Gong Yu was very caring and considerate towards me. However, previously, I only had Yi in my heart, and I completely neglected Yi's thoughtfulness. This caused Gong Yu to become even more intense, and hate Yi even more. It was all his fault. He was the one who had harmed them. Yi Juetian suddenly extended his hand and grabbed Gong Yu's wrist. This was the first time that Yi Juetian had taken the initiative to grab Gong Yu's wrist. This caused Gong Yu to stare blankly, and even Meng Yao, who was standing at the side, was dumbfounded. She had no idea what Yi Juetian was trying to do. Yi Hua and the others were very puzzled as well. What is Xiao Tian trying to do? Yi Juetian seemed to have thought it through, and seemed to have calmed down a lot. None of you are in the wrong, the one who is in the wrong is me, Gong Yu. You don't have to die, the one who should die is me. Yi Juetian suddenly laughed. The reason why I ended up in such a situation is because I lacked courage, was sloppy, and was indecisive. No wonder everyone says that I only look like Big Brother, but the way I do things is completely different. From this matter, it was clear that Yi Juetian finally understood how cowardly he was today. If back then, he had rejected those partners and didn't ask Gong Yu to come over, she would still be living together with her parents right now, and would even be respected by everyone. However, now that she was here, she could only stay by my side and treat me well. However, have I ever treated her well before? Never. I had only treated her as a friend. At that time, I should have mustered up my courage, directly brought Yi into the palace, and boldly admitted that I liked this woman, and that I wouldn't marry anyone else but her. To be honest, if Yi Juetian had really done that, Yi Hua and Lu Jing wouldn't be able to do anything about it. However, Yi Juetian was an obedient child, and he didn't dare to go against Yi Hua's words. You want to die for her? Meng Yao asked gravely, her expression clearly not good. Just how did this woman harm me? Have you still not seen it clearly? Back then, when I was being bullied by so many people, did you even come out and speak up for me? And now, you actually dare to say that you want to die for her. Yi Juetian. Are you still a human? Gong Yu was stupefied as she looked at Yi Juetian in disbelief. He finally spoke up for me, he finally spoke up for me. 2 streams of tears flowed down Gong Yu's cheeks. Even if I am going to die right now, I am still happy. Yi Juetian looked at Meng Yao and said lightly, I was the one who harmed you, and I also harmed her. The 2 of you are actually innocent, and the one who is guilty is me, Yi Juetian. I am not worthy of the love of the 2 of you. Boom! A ferocious aura erupted from Yi Juetian's body and soared straight into the clouds. Everyone in Voidless Empire was looking at this golden light. What happened in the palace? This aura is so terrifying. To ordinary people, the aura that an overlord is giving off is a rather terrifying existence. Big brother, let me bear all of the wrongs. Help me say a sentence of apology on behalf of mother. Your son is unfilial and cannot continue serving by her side anymore. Yi Juetian said with a tone of righteousness. Yi Hua snorted coldly, and an even more ferocious aura immediately emitted out from his body, directly sending Yi Juetian flying. Yi Juetian was like a cannonball that pierced through the entire palace. Idiot! Yi Hua shouted out coldly. To commit suicide for the sake of 2 women, the Supreme Overlord, have lost all of my face. Things happened too quickly. Meng Yao immediately reacted and disappeared from where she was, and Gong Yu did the same. Right now, Yi Juetian had already fainted. How could he possibly withstand a single attack from Yi Hua? It was already good enough that he didn't die. Seeing that Yi Juetian was fine, Meng Yao let out a breath of relief. However, when she thought about it, why did I have to worry about him? Gong Yu's situation was much simpler. She sat beside Yi Juetian and hugged him in her embrace. Gong Yu felt very happy in her heart. She suddenly felt that all of the things that she did were all worth it. Even if she were to die now, it was all worth it. Meng Yao looked at Gong Yu who was hugging Yi Juetian and ignored her, walking to the side. At this moment, Yi Hua brought everyone over. Gong Yu! Yi Hua shouted out. Gong Yu bowed respectfully, Your Majesty. The death penalty is unavoidable, but punishment is unavoidable. This emperor shall sentence you to life imprisonment in the heavenly prison. Do you have any objections? Thank you, brothers, for your bounty. Thank you, brothers, for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 1171. Qingya, Donghuang Baizhi, and the others didn't expect that Yi Hua would deal with the matter in such a way, and they all let out a sigh of relief in their hearts. This time, Gong Yu had indeed committed a grave crime, and yet, Yi Hua was actually willing to spare her life. From this, it could be seen that Yi Hua knew that he was in the wrong. If not, it would be impossible for him to do such a thing. Gong Yu was actually quite pitiful. She had degenerated into a bad woman for little Tian. Meng Yao didn't say anything when she heard the verdict. Gong Yu respectfully kowtowed, Thank you, Your Majesty, for not killing me. Gong Yu's attitude of admitting her mistake was rather good, and she did not anger Yi Hua. Guards, bring Gong Yu to the dungeon. Yi Hua shouted out lightly. After that, he threw out a seal and sealed Gong Yu's cultivation. Without Yi Hua's main body dispelling the seal, Gong Yu was just an ordinary person. 2 black-armored warriors appeared by Gong Yu's side and took her away. Gong Yu was most reluctant to part with Yi Juetian. She did not know when she would be able to see Yi Juetian again. However, since Yi Juetian had spoken up for her, she did not have any regrets. Actually, women's requirements were very low, they just wanted to be cared for. Gong Yu could feel Yi Juetian's concern for Yi, but Yi could not feel Yi Juetian's concern, and Yi Juetian could not feel Gong Yu's concern either. It was too chaotic. Bring Xiao Tian away. Yi Hua said faintly. Qing Ye and the others nodded their heads, then brought Yi Juetian away, leaving behind only Yi Hua and Meng Yao. Dealing with Gong Yu wasn't something that Yi Hua instructed Meng Yao to do, and it was something that Yi Hua had to deal with. As for the final result, it wasn't something that Yi Hua was seeking Meng Yao's opinion on. After all, this was Voidless Empire's matter. However, Yi Hua still said gravely, Meng Yao, I owe you a favor. He then took out a jade slip and said, crush this jade slip. No matter what happens, this emperor will settle it for you. Meng Yao didn't stand on ceremony and took the jade slip. You don't seem to have any opinion about this punishment. Yi Hua lit up a stick of cigarette and asked curiously. Meng Yao replied, she's just a pitiful woman. As a god, I shouldn't be so calculative with her. At first, Meng Yao had wanted Gong Yu dead, but after hearing Gong Yu's story, her heart was moved. He was an exalted god, and he was going through a tribulation. This was a test from the heavens, and he shouldn't be so serious. Just as Gong Yu had said, he might be jealous. Meng Yao, in actuality, Xiao Tian and I have an agreement. Yi Hua said faintly. This could also be considered as saying a few good words for his little brother, trying to make up to him as much as possible. Agreement? Yes, I won't kill you, he won't see you. Yi Hua said faintly. Meng Yao was slightly shaken after hearing this. After a while, she said lightly, this is just a relationship tribulation. Moreover, I don't see it that seriously. Alright. See you again, Meng Yao said indifferently. Yi Hua nodded his head, and Meng Yao disappeared from where she was. However, Yi Hua could see that this woman was forcefully enduring. Meng Yao returned to her training room and took out her handkerchief. She put the lollipop in her mouth and couldn't hold back her tears anymore. How could he not take it seriously? Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette butt and returned to his mother's bedroom. Yi Juetian was lying on the bed. That slap just now was not light at all, and he had yet to wake up. Yi Hua, what happened to Xiao Tian? Lu Jing asked worriedly. Qing Ye and the others didn't dare to say it, and thus, Yi Hua was the one to tell them. Yi Hua let out a sigh, it's nothing much, I just hit him. Ah, you hit him so heavily. Lu Jing said lightly. Yi Hua felt that Yi Juetian's irresolute and indecisive personality was brought out by his mother's pampering. Therefore, this was precisely the reason why I, the Supreme Overlord, wanted to let Yi Juetian go out to prevent him from being spoiled rotten by Qing Ye and Dong Huang Baiji. If that happens, Yi Juetian would end up dying for a woman. However, now that his mother's illness had recovered, it was a great news. This way, I will be able to go and deal with Wei Chang who had gone missing and Qing Su who had escaped with Dou Fushi. Qing Ye and the others all felt that Granny doted on Yi Juetian a bit. Yi Hua woke Yi Juetian up, and Yi Juetian who was lying on the bed immediately sat up and looked at his surroundings. Where are Yi and Gong Yu? Yi Juetian hurriedly asked his big brother. Yi Hua sat at the side, and Daji was respectfully pouring tea for her master. Yi went back, and Gong Yu is being imprisoned by me for life. Yi Hua said faintly. When Lu Jing heard how Gong Yu dealt with the matter, she let out a sigh of relief. No matter what, Gong Yu was still half a daughter-in-law, and if she was killed, Lu Jing would still feel a bit bad. Hearing this result, Yi Juetian seemed to have lost all his strength. However, this could also be counted as the best result, right? You can go and take a look, but you are only allowed to go once a month. Yi Hua said coldly, giving the biggest concession he could. After that, he walked out of the bedroom. Because right now, he had to make arrangements for another matter. However, before he left, he called Yi Yuanqing over. Big brother. Yi Yuanqing stood in front of Yi Hua and asked curiously. Yi Hua patted onto Yi Yuanqing's head. Have you thought things through during this period of time? Big brother, I think I know what I should do now. Yi Yuanqing's gaze was filled with determination. Very good, if there are difficulties, then ring the bell. There will be a surprise. Thank you, big brother. Yi Hua smiled lightly. When the time comes, big brother will congratulate you. My little sister is going to become the Empress of God's realm. Big brother, even if she becomes an empress, she will still be big brother's little sister. And, there is no need to inform me when you go back. Big brother is going to be busy during this period of time. Alright, big brother, I understand. Yi Hua nodded his head, then left and called Zhu Tian and Brett over. Right now, the husband and wife had an important mission. Wei Chang's disappearance needed them to investigate. Zhu Tian and Brett quickly received the news, then came before Yi Hua and shouted out respectfully, "Subordinate. We pay our respects to your honor. I need you two to go and investigate Wei Chang's disappearance. No matter where he is, if he is alive, I want to see him, if he is dead, I want to see his corpse." Yi Hua said coldly. "We will solemnly obey your honor's decree. Go on, be careful." The other party was even able to get rid of Wei Chang. You two cannot let your guard down. I have already lost one, I do not wish to lose another. Yi Hua said lightly. I completely didn't expect that there would still be such a person in Kangluo continent. Just like how a level 100 god was acting cool in a newbie village, in the end, there was another level 100 god that was also acting cool in the newbie village. Zhu Tian suggested, Your Honor, right now, we are short on manpower, should we consider calling him back? This way, we will be able to help Your Honor out of your troubles. Yi Hua knew who Zhu Tian was talking about. There was still one last subordinate. I will consider it. You two can go and investigate this matter as soon as possible. Yes. Your Honor, we will be leaving first. Zhu Tian said respectfully. Yi Hua waved his hand, then turned around and walked towards the throne. Yi Hua slowly closed his eyes and began searching for Envy's whereabouts. After a long while, Yi Hua slowly opened his eyes, and his gaze was very grave. Envy's aura was blocked off. End of this chapter. Chapter 1172. Was it a coincidence that his three subordinates had disappeared at the same time? Or was it man-made? If it was a coincidence, that would be fine. If it was done by someone, who would have such strength? Yi Hua's brows were tightly knitted as he sank into deep thought. His eyes were emitting a cold red glow. After a long while. Yi Zizi! Yi Hua shouted. Very quickly, Yi Zizi appeared in the palace and shouted out, Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Go and bring Envy back to me. No matter what method we use. Yi Hua said gravely. Your honor, did Envy disappear? Yi Zizi raised her head and asked curiously. Yes, his aura has been blocked. Your honor, where was the last place he appeared? Yi Zizi asked. Yi Hua thought for a moment, it's in Minglan communal country. Isn't that deity institution's territory? Yi Zizi stared blankly for a moment. The two little sovereigns were both over there. Yes. Can I ask Kaiyun to come with me? I'm scared to be alone, Yi Zizi said pitifully. Actually, it was just that she was too bored and wanted to find someone to accompany her. Yi Hua was tickled by Yi Zizi's expression. With a light laugh, he said, Let Kaiyun go with you. The two of you, be careful. Yes. At first, Yi Zizi was very happy. What was so fun about the Imperial Palace? Only going out was fun. Seeing that Yi Zizi had accepted the order and left, Yi Hua let out a sigh of relief. Basically, all of the main forces have been sent out, and there is still Lai Gu who is sleeping in the valley. This Wushu Empire had his main body overseeing it, so no one dared to come and provoke him. On the other side, Yi Juetian arrived at the entrance of the heavenly prison. The two black-armored warriors stood guard at the side, thinking that they were also locked inside. Behind them was Yi, but they didn't dare to meet Yi. If they had gone and given Yi some courage, how good would that have been? But now, it was too late to say anything. But, because of him, Gong Yu had gotten herself into a huge mess, and was now locked up in there as well. He was truly a troublemaker. Big Brother letting him see it once a month was already the most lenient thing he could do. Walking into the heavenly prison, a flight of stairs extended downwards. It was so deep that the bottom could not be seen. A damp aura hit them in the face, and the sound of water dripping made them feel the invasion of loneliness. After arriving at the lowest level, Yi Juetian saw a beautiful figure. She was sitting on the ground, tightly hugging her legs, looking very helpless. Yi Juetian felt that Yi might have looked like this when she was locked up here. When Gong Yu heard the faint footsteps, she raised her head and her delicate face immediately lit up with joy. Ju Tian. Gong Yu stood up and grabbed the iron bars with both hands, her face filled with incomparable joy. Yi Juetian had come to see him. How nice. Yi Juetian walked in front of Gong Yu and looked at the woman who was crying tears of joy. What did he do to deserve such care from her? Gong Yu, I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble, Yi Juetian said in a deep voice. He knew that an apology would not solve the problem. No, absolute heaven, I don't blame you, really, Gong Yu said with a faint smile as she wiped away the tears of joy. Yi Juetian took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Gong Yu, since I chose you, I should be responsible for you. Gong Yu was immediately stupefied when she heard that. She felt as if she was hearing things. Did absolute heaven just say that he would take responsibility for her? Is this real or fake? Even if you have to stay here for the rest of your life, I will take responsibility for you. Yi Juetian gave a man's promise. Gong Yu's expression gradually became tense, and then, she squatted down and started crying loudly. She had left her home and entrusted her heart to this man in front of her. She had been sad before, and now, she was even happier. She finally heard the promise that he gave her. Yi Juetian stretched out his hand and lightly stroked Gong Yu's hair. Big Brother promised me that I can come and see you once a month. That's great, absolute heaven. Gong Yu tightly held onto Yi Juetian's hand, not willing to let go. However, the current Yi Juetian felt guilty towards Gong Yu, and making up for her was greater than love. In Yi Juetian's heart, it was possible that the one he loved would forever only be the dead Yi. Yi Juetian slowly sat on the ground and closely accompanied Gong Yu. This woman turned from kind to evil, it was hard to imagine just what she had experienced. Alright, absolute heaven, you should quickly go back, come and see me next month. Gong Yu squeezed out a smile and said. Of course, she hoped that Yi Juetian would be able to accompany her more. Yi Juetian let out a deep sigh, Gong Yu, I will think of a way to make Big Brother let you out. Absolute heaven, you don't have to be anxious. Actually, this place is pretty good, it's quiet. I can also properly reflect on myself. Hearing Yi Juetian's words, Gong Yu was still very happy in her heart. With Yi Juetian's words, I will definitely follow him. Yi Juetian looked at the surrounding cold environment. Back then, if Yi was sitting here, just how scared would she be? I'll be leaving first. Yi Juetian stood up and said lightly. Gong Yu was reluctant, but she also knew that it was time for Yi Juetian to leave. I won't be by your side, take good care of yourself, eat on time, and rest early. Gong Yu shouted towards Yi Juetian's back. Yi Juetian slightly trembled, then turned his head around and said with a smile, Thank you, Gong Yu. Gong Yu also revealed out a gentle smile. This might be Gong Yu's original personality. Looking at Yi Juetian disappearing from her sight, Gong Yu slowly sat on the ground and closed her eyes, and a trace of an arc appeared on the corner of her mouth. When Yi Juetian walked out of the prison, he immediately saw his big brother who was not far away from him currently smoking. Big brother. Yi Juetian called out lightly. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and passed it over to Yi Juetian. Yi Juetian didn't reject it. In the past, I felt that cigarettes were bad things, but now, I feel that, smoking cigarettes is rather comfortable. Let's take a walk. Yi Hua said lightly. Yi Juetian nodded his head. The two brothers walked on the main road of the palace, and the palace maids that they passed by would respectfully call out to them. I feel that if the emperor and the prince were to wear the same clothes, it would be hard to tell who is who. Big brother, before Yi left, did she say anything? Yi Juetian asked. Yi Hua knew that his little brother would ask about this matter. She didn't say anything. Oh. After hearing that, Yi Juetian was a bit disappointed. Little Tian, her name is Meng Yao. In her world, everyone has to address her respectfully. High God Meng Yao, she is stronger than you, stronger by a lot. Yi Hua said faintly, dealing a blow to this little brother of his who still didn't understand anything. If one doesn't experience life and death, one will never grow up. Thinking back, I, the Supreme Overlord, grew up amidst life and death, and I had to face death every day. All of my abilities were obtained for free, and they were all exchanged for with my life. There will never be a free lunch falling from the sky, and even if it does, it won't land on your head. High God Meng Yao. Yi Juetian said in a low voice. In actuality, when Yi Juetian saw Meng Yao today, he already felt that Meng Yao was very strong. Yi Hua flicked away the ash from his cigarette, then said lightly, however, Big Brother still left a trump card for you. Whether or not you are able to redeem Meng Yao will have to depend on your abilities. Big Brother? Yi Juetian was a bit stupefied, and he asked dumbfoundedly. End of this chapter. Chapter 1173. I gave Meng Yao a piece of jade and told her to crush it when something happens. I'll be able to take care of anything. Yi Hua patted onto his little brother's shoulder. Since Gong Yu has already given you compensation, naturally, Meng Yao's compensation will not be lacking. As for whether or not the compensation will be successful, Big Brother doesn't care anymore. If it was a woman he liked, then he would fight for it himself. Big Brother, are you saying that you want me to go and help Meng Yao? Yi Juetian cried out in surprise, as if he saw the light of hope again. Yi Hua nodded his head, that's right. You look so similar to me, and you impersonated as Big Brother to go and solve the problem for me. After that, you then revealed your identity. Don't tell me that Meng Yao wouldn't be touched. F***ck, he's tricking Yi. Not only did he trick his own wife, but he also helped his brother trick others. It was simply terrifying. However, Yi Juetian suddenly thought of something, but Big Brother, I'm so much weaker than Meng Yao. If she can't deal with it, how can I deal with it? A man. If they were content with the status quo, then what was the difference between him and a cripple? Heights were always meant to be climbed. If you don't have the strength, then go cultivate. Women will only attach themselves to powerful men. Excellence is the most important factor in attracting women. She is now Meng Yao, not that stupid Yi. If you want to regain someone's heart, you can't rely on your mouth, you can rely on your strength. Yi Hua's words could be said to have enlightened Yi Juetian. In Yi Juetian's heart, with such a powerful Big Brother, all I have to do is to hug onto his thigh tightly. He had completely neglected his own growth. A person without strength was no different from a salted fish. If I, Yi Juetian, want to be a salted fish, it was also the saltiest one. Big Brother. Teach little brother how to become a strong person. Yi Juetian immediately knelt in front of his big brother and lowered his head. The reason why Yi Hua was waiting for Yi Juetian outside was also because of this matter. My younger brother cannot continue idling around, if not, he will be crippled. Yi Hua helped his younger brother up. Let's talk while we walk. Yes. Big Brother knows a world where there are no humans, only prehistoric divine beasts and prehistoric ferocious beasts. They can take your life in minutes. Yi Hua said gravely. If I want to become strong, I can only rely on myself to become strong. The interference of external forces will only restrict the growth of my strength. To be honest, Yi Hua also didn't want his younger brother to go to that place. However, if his younger brother wanted to become stronger, that place was the best world for him. Life and death were decided by a single thought. Every decision he made would affect his life. Those rare ferocious beasts were all found in that world. For gods, rare ferocious beasts were nothing in that world. Everywhere was filled with the smell of death. Now that the Supreme Being was gone, death was only a matter of time. Zhu Tian, if you don't want to go, Big Brother won't blame you. After all, Big Brother doesn't want you to go either. He would rather you go and become a profligate son. Yi Hua said lightly. He wasn't trying to agitate Yi Juetian, but if his little brother really died, then, as the big brother, he would become a sinner. At the same time, he didn't want to see his brother in such a depressed state. He needed to fight monsters above his level. Only in that kind of environment would he be able to recover quickly. Yi Hua didn't hope that his younger brother would be able to surpass him. It would be fine as long as his younger brother could be on par with 7 deadly sins. Yi Juetian's gaze was resolute. I'll go. Don't be in a hurry to agree. Think about it for a month. Yi Hua said faintly. Perhaps, right now, Yi Juetian had agreed to Yi Hua's request in a moment of hot-headedness. Only when one is calm, would one's judgment be reliable. Yi Juetian didn't say anything as he pondered. Let's go to Mother's place to eat first. Now that Mother's illness has healed, you should accompany her properly. Yi Hua said lightly. All right, I will. During this period of time, I have neglected Mother too much, I have let Mother down. It's good that you know. Women are important, but family love is also inseparable. If a woman is gone, you can always find another one, but if a mother is gone, then she will truly be gone. Yi Hua began instilling his own logic into Yi Hua. If Yi Hua and the others were to hear what he said, they would definitely be angry and ignore him for a few days. If Yi Hua were to answer, if your wife and mother fell into the water at the same time, who would you save? Yi Hua wouldn't hesitate to say that he would save Mother. Today's meal was personally cooked by the 4 daughters-in-law, and it was very sumptuous. It could be considered as celebrating Mother's recovery. Yi Hua and Yi Juetian walked into the room, and Yi Hua asked curiously, "Where's Yuan Qing?" Lu Jing said with a slight smile, "Yuan Qing went back, and he asked me to inform you." Yi Hua nodded his head. It's good that my little sister has thought things through. However, my little sister's side might not be so relaxed. That Dong Huang surname is very mysterious, and it should be related to the royal family. If my little sister wants to seize the throne, the people of the Dong Huang surname will definitely not sit and watch. The bell that I gave to my little sister should be able to deal with this matter. However, is that Dong Huang surname related to Dong Huang Baiji or not? Yi Hua's intuition told him that there is definitely a connection between the two of them. Yi Hua took a look at Dong Huang Baiji, who was carrying the dishes. Perhaps, she is carrying grievances on her back, and perhaps, she doesn't even know about it. This matter can be pushed back a bit. I should first find my 3 subordinates first, this is the most important matter. There isn't any news about Qing Su from White Bone's side. Seems like I have to go and rummage through my treasury to see if there are any treasures that can be used to find people. Yi Hua, what are you thinking about? Lu Jing asked curiously. Mother, it's nothing much. How do you feel today? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Yi Hua asked caringly. Lu Jing said tenderly, Mother has already recovered, and just now, Yutong and the others said that they are going to bring me on a trip. Trip? Yi Hua looked towards Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong placed the dishes on the table and said tenderly, Brother-in-law, my big sister was just about to tell you about this matter. Yi Hua looked towards Qing Ya. What are you two planning to do again? Qing Ya placed the chopsticks on the table and said tenderly, Yi Hua, it has been a long time since Yutong and I went back to visit our parents, so we are planning to bring Mother and Yuqing to go on a trip. We can also go and visit Mother while we are at it. Oh, is that so? When are you planning to leave? Yi Hua felt that it was fine. Mother and Yuqing have never been to Earth before, and it is quite safe over there. Thus, Yi Hua wasn't too worried. Qing Yutong said happily, we will leave in a few days. Baiji, aren't you going? Yi Hua looked towards the empress and asked curiously. Dong Huang Baiji rolled her eyes at Yi Hua, I have to at least leave one person behind to take care of you, right? If not, there won't be anyone to wash those smelly socks of yours. Ha ha ha. Hearing Dong Huang Baiji's teasing, everyone laughed. Yi Hua was helpless. To think that I would say such a thing, mother wouldn't even scold me. However, it is also good for them to go on a trip, at least I can be a bit more at ease. Alright, let's eat. Little Tian, eat more, you have become thinner these few days. Lu Jing said lightly as she picked up a chicken drumstick and gave it to her son. End of chapter. Chapter 1174. Yi Juetian looked at the chicken drumstick in the bowl and took a deep breath. Mother, I have discussed with Big Brother, I want to become stronger. Lu Jing was taken aback for a moment, then she smiled happily and said, that's a good thing. Little Tian, you've finally grown up. Sure enough, in Lu Jing's eyes, Yi Juetian was like a child that hadn't grown up, and he had matured a bit after going through this matter. Little Tian, where are you going? Qian Yuqing asked curiously. It's a very dangerous place, Yi Juetian said solemnly. When Lu Jing heard this, she frowned. Dangerous place? How dangerous? Are the people there very fierce? Yi Hua put down his chopsticks and said lightly, Mother, there is no one there, there are only ancient divine beasts and ancient ferocious beasts. What? Lu Jing exclaimed. Yi Juetian's gaze was resolute. Mother. I want to become stronger. I want to become a real man and shoulder responsibility. Lu Jing did not say anything and slowly put down her chopsticks. Everyone looked at Lu Jing. Little Tian, you've really grown up. Mother is very pleased. Lu Jing gently held her son's hand and said with relief. In actuality, Lu Jing didn't want her youngest son to go out and take risks from the bottom of her heart. Yi Hua had just returned, and Xiao Tian had already gone out to take risks. As a mother, she only hoped that her children could live happily. However, they were all men, and they carried the family's glory on their shoulders. Little Tian, mother supports you. Lu Jing smiled gently. Upon hearing that, Yi Hua went into a slight daze. Even I am a bit unable to hold myself back, and yet, my mother actually agreed to it straightforwardly. It was indeed a little surprising. Qian Yuqing revealed a surprised expression. Her mother actually let little Tian take the risk. Yi Juetian tightly held his mother's hands and resolutely said, Mother, I will not disappoint you. I will make my mother proud of me. Big brother and sisters-in-law. And, mother is looking forward to the day you return. My family's little Tian has finally become a man. Lu Jing caressed Yi Juetian's hair lightly, she was incomparably happy. Yi Juetian looked towards Yi Hua, Big brother, I have decided. Yi Hua nodded his head, then said gravely, before you go, do a month's worth of preparations first. If there is anything that you need, just tell me, Big brother, and make sure to bring everything that you need. Big brother, I understand. Yi Juetian knew that this time, he had a slim chance of survival, so he had to handle this carefully. Yi Hua was also very gratified. After experiencing this matter, my younger brother has also grown up. Similarly, I have also learned a lot of things from this matter. After the meal, Yi Juetian went back to make preparations. At night, Yi Hua called his 4 wives and prepared to hold a family meeting. The main contents of the meeting were a few points. Yi Hua sat on the main seat, and his 4 wives sat on both sides of him. Holding onto the teacup, Yi Hua blew on the tea passionately and took a sip. A lot of bad things have happened recently, and I'm in a bad mood. That's why I want to apologize to you. Yi Hua said in a low voice. He knew that these women were also feeling wronged. As a man, one must know when to yield and when to stand tall, no matter when, it would be the same. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji snorted. you still know how to admit your mistake. You didn't do anything wrong, how could you have done anything wrong? It's all our fault. The king of blame shifting. Through this matter, I have also gained some enlightenment and reflected on myself. Yihua placed down the teacup and said faintly. Brother-in-law, this is a good thing. Qing Yutong was Yihua's fan, and she followed Yihua unconditionally. At this time, Qian Yuqing also said softly, Yihua, don't blame yourself too much. Adding everything together, your judgment won't be that accurate. Qian Yuqing was about the same as Qing Yutong, she was very lenient towards Yihua. However, Qing Ye and Donghuang Baizhi weren't that easy to talk to. How could they not know about Yihua's character? After talking for a long time, they still didn't get to the main topic. Next, my work will be shifting to finding Wei Chang and the others. It's good that you two are leaving for now. After pausing for a moment, Yihua continued to ask, Qing Ye, when are you two planning to leave? Qing Ye let out a breath and said lightly, after discussing with mother today, we have decided to leave tomorrow. What, so soon? Yihua was a bit surprised. Donghuang Baizhi said faintly, mother seems to be reluctant to part with little Tian and doesn't want to see that kind of scene of separation. Thus, she plans to leave in advance. Yihua felt that he was very similar to his mother, he was also the kind of person who didn't like to be separated. That's good too, after you two go there, have some fun and accompany mother to relax. Yihua said with a slight smile. Mother has worked hard for her entire life, it's about time for her to enjoy herself. As for little Tian, it won't be that easy for anything to happen to him. Qing Ye and Donghuang Baizhi nodded their heads. Yihua took a look at the night sky outside and said faintly, it's already quite late, let's rest early. The corners of Qing Ye and Donghuang Baizhi's mouth twitched. After saying that, this is probably his main purpose, right? Qing Yutong revealed out a naughty smile. Qian Yuqing is as pure as a piece of paper. Qing Ye and Donghuang Baizhi took a look at each other, then immediately prepared to run away. Trying to run away. Yihua snorted coldly, then immediately threw out 2 shackles. Qing Ye and Donghuang Baizhi stopped in midair, then slowly moved towards the room at the back. Yihua! You pervert! What are you trying to do? Let me go. We still haven't forgiven you. Yihua said faintly, Yutong, close the door. Alright brother-in-law, wow, are we going to do something exciting tonight? This feels great. Qing Yutong seemed to be even more excited than Yihua. Qian Yuqing still didn't know what was going on and asked Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong said in a low voice, and Qian Yuqing's beautiful face immediately became bright red, just like a honey peach. Yutong, hold down your big sister for me. Alright, Qing Yutong. You traitor. Yuqing, help me hold Baizhi down. Ah, Yihua, that isn't good, right? Not obedient huh, oh, I'll do it. Donghuang Baizhi glared at Yihua, how can you let Yuqing do such a thing? Shameless. You will definitely be gone for a few months, so your husband plans to comfort you tonight. Don't struggle, just enjoy it. Yihua said lightly. This was the purpose of today. Ever since Yuqing came over, I have never had such an exciting time. Qing Yutong shouted out loudly, brother-in-law, quickly come, I have already stripped big sister naked, quickly come and enjoy. Qing Yutong, see if I don't slap you traitor, to actually treat big sister like this. Brother-in-law, quickly come and shut big sister's mouth. Yutong, you are still the sensible one. Yihua was very gratified. I didn't take this sister-in-law for nothing. When Yihua woke up the next day, Donghuang Baizhi was the only one left beside Yihua. The other 3 had already left. He looked at his empress. She had been bullied last night, and tears had come out of her eyes. How tragic. End of chapter. Chapter 1175. Yihua sat up and wore his clothes. The empress who was on the bed didn't have any reaction, and Yihua didn't plan to wake her up either. Right now, the empress needed to rest. Thinking back to last night's excitement, it felt really good. It turned out that having more wives had such an effect. Interesting. Right when Yihua stepped out of the bedroom, he actually saw the green and red brothers kneeling outside the bedroom. What is the meaning of this? Yihua asked gravely, especially when he looked at LV Liang's severed hand. This fellow's severed hand is a sign of his determination, and he is always on guard against me. This is the style of a man. Lu Liang shouted out respectfully, subordinate pays respect to your honor. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Get up. Yihua said faintly. Thank you, your honor. Speak. LV Liang and Yihang took a look at each other, then LV Liang said respectfully, Your honor, we wish to train together with Lord Yi. Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows. Why did you suddenly have such a thought? Your honor, we are too weak, we are unable to take on the team's daily work. We must bring glory to your honor, not humiliation. Yihua took out a cigarette and lit it up, then quietly smoked. After a long time, he asked, Do you know how dangerous it is to go to that place? It's very likely that you won't be able to return. Yihang cupped his hands and said, Your honor, even Prince Yi dares to go, us brothers naturally dare to as well. Are your women accurate? Yihua asked faintly. The green and red brothers didn't say anything. Yihua knew that the two of them were hiding the truth from him. Would Zishan allow Yihang to throw away her life? As for the blood clan sisters, although they usually looked obedient and sensible, they would definitely resist such a thing. Yihua placed his hands behind his back and said faintly, If your women agree to it, I won't have anything to say about it. However, I don't want to wait for your women to come to me and cry and beg me after you two leave. Looking at his honor's departing figure, Yihang asked in a low voice, Big brother, what should we do? Looks like I still have to go back and lay my cards on the table. LV Shu felt helpless. A showdown? My relationship with Zishan is slightly better, she definitely won't allow it. Even if it's not accurate, it has to be accurate. I want to become stronger. I don't want to do anything that will bring shame to the team. LV Liang clenched her left hand tightly. Her eyes revealed a thirst for power. The scene from that day replayed in her mind every day. She had had enough of it. Yihang knew that her big brother still cared about it, but she requested to go this time for the sake of the future. When big brother encountered it that day, he might also encounter it in the future, and the result might be the same as big brother. I mustn't bring shame to his honor, and I mustn't bring shame to the team either. I must cultivate. Let's go back and lay all our cards on the table. Yihang clenched both of her hands tightly. I hope that I can help his honor solve this problem, and at the same time, I also want to find Uncle Wei. Let those bad guys know that everyone in the team is in existence that they can't afford to offend. The green and red brothers immediately returned to their own chambers. LV Lu was looking at his two wives trimming the flowers with a very serious expression. LV Liang smiled and shouted, Come here for a moment. Hubby, what's wrong? His sister, Celine, was still quite cheerful. With a happy smile, she stood behind LV Liang and massaged him. Serena sat beside him and asked softly, What's wrong, honey? There's something I want to talk to you about, LV Lu said with a faint smile. What is it? Serena asked softly. I want to go and gain experience. LV Liang did not beat around the bush and said directly. In actuality, the news of Yi Juetian wanting to go and gain experience had already spread throughout the team. It must be said that the team's intelligence work is really good. If not, LV Liang and Yihang wouldn't have gone to Yi Juetian's place early in the morning. Celine bit onto her lips and slowly sat beside Yihua. The two of them knew that LV Liang cared about that day a lot. Although LV Liang was much better these few days, it was all just an act. Do you really want to go? Serena asked in a low voice. Big sister, you can't let hubby go. Celine knew what her big sister wanted to do, but she didn't want to. Going to that place would be the same as sending herself to death. Serena's considerations were more thorough. Even if I don't agree to go, Elvil Yang will still go. Sometimes, when a man makes a decision, one must support him. Furthermore, even his honor's own younger brother is going to go, so what else can other people say? Hubby, I support you, Celine said with a slight smile as she held on to Elvil Yang's hand. After so many years, I have also deeply loved this man. Elvil Yang didn't expect that his wife would open the door for him like this. Elvil Yang hugged onto Celine tightly, but Celine seemed to be unhappy as she sat at the side. Celine said tenderly, Hubby, although I allowed you to go, if you don't come back, I won't be able to continue living on my own. Elvil Yang's body trembled. With a wife like this, what more can a husband ask for? With the two of them in this life, it is the heaven's blessing for me. You two can be at ease, I will come back. I will come back with glory. I swear. Right now, Elvil Yang's blood was boiling, and he couldn't wait to increase his strength. Elvil Yang's side had passed, but Yi Hong's side was not that simple. What? You want to go to that place? After hearing what Yi Hong said, Zishan was completely astonished. Zishan, I want to become stronger, I want to contribute to the team, I don't want to do those small things anymore. Forget it, don't say anymore, I am going to smash my head into the wall and commit suicide, you go ahead. After speaking, Zishan prepared to smash her head into the wall. You are a deity, even if you were to smash through the wall, the one that would be injured would still be the wall, not your head. Yi Hong hugged onto Zishan and said gravely, Zishan, listen to me. I'm not listening, I'm not listening. Calm down a bit. My husband is going to commit suicide, and you are still telling me to calm down. Are you sick? Yi Hong, wife, this time, I have to go. I will go with you then. Zishan said coldly. You want me to become a widow, but I am not willing to do that. If I am to die, I will die together with you. Yi Hong felt that his head was about to explode. Wife, so many years have passed, and I have always listened to you, but this time, can you listen to me for once? Since you have already listened to me, then listen to me for your entire life. Yi Hong expressed that he was angry, and he fiercely slapped onto Zishan's buttocks. You slapped me. Zishan looked at Yi Hong and said absent-mindedly. Yi Hong was confused by his own actions. I actually slapped Zishan, it's over, now, I am even more unwilling to go. Zishan's eyes could be seen turning red as she pointed at Yi Hong, you slapped me, you don't love me anymore, woo, you don't love me anymore. Oh my God. Does a tigress have such a side to her? If I had known, I would have ruthlessly slapped Zishan back then. Be obedient, I didn't do it on purpose, I will help you rub it. I don't want you to rub it, it hurts so much, you don't want me anymore. Zishan, let me go, listen to me for once, let my man go. Yi Hong said seriously. End of chapter. Chapter 1176. Zishan didn't say anything and quietly snuggled into Yi Hong's embrace. Zishan felt very warm. After a while, Zishan said lightly, will you come back alive? Of course. Good. If you don't come back alive, I will definitely take revenge on you. Ah, I am already dead, and you still want to take revenge on me? That's right. I will make you a cuckold, I will make you wear it every day. Yi Hong. This is rather ruthless. However, Yi Hong knew that Zishan was just joking. Yi Hong hugged Zishan tightly and said tenderly, wife, thank you. Husband, you must come back alive, you must come back alive. And, I will definitely come back alive, when the time comes, husband will bring honor to you. And, I am proud of you. This was the first time that Zishan said this, causing Yi Hong to be very excited. With the support of my wife, my entire body is filled with power. Right now, Yi Hua was currently searching through his treasury to see if there were any treasures that could be used to track him. There were indeed some treasures, but they were all ordinary treasures that wouldn't be of any use at all. Just as Yi Hua was pondering, the green and red brothers' voices rang out. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Yi Hua slowly opened his eyes, and seeing that the green and red brothers had brought their wives over, it seems like I have managed to convince them. These two brothers sure are in a rush. Yi Hua looked at them and asked faintly, have you thought it through? The green and red brothers knelt on the ground and shouted out respectfully, Your Honor, we have thought it through. If we are unable to bring honor to your honor, what difference is there from death? I admire your attitude, since you have already decided, then set off together with Yi Juetian. The green and red brothers were delighted, thank you, your honor. Zishan and the blood race sisters remained silent, all kinds of unwillingness were present in their hearts. Right at this moment, Tang Wei suddenly appeared in the palace, subordinate pays respect to your honor. Tang Wei, what's the matter? Yi Hua asked faintly. Right now, Wei Chang is missing, and the one who is most worried about him is most probably Tang Wei. Tang Wei said respectfully, Your Honor, I want to go and gain experience. Yi Hua's brows wrinkled, and he didn't immediately agree to it. Your Honor, Uncle Wei is missing, but I am powerless. I hate myself for being weak, but when Uncle Wei needs me, I am unable to do anything. Please promise me. Tang Wei fiercely kowtowed on the ground. Everyone looked at Tang Wei and felt pity in their hearts. These few days, Tang Wei had been living a very painful life. Every night, she would wash her face with tears. However, during the day, she had to pretend that nothing had happened. Hearing what Tang Wei said, Yi Hua became silent. Wei Chang was currently missing, not dead. If he were to come back one day and find out that Tang Wei had died, how am I supposed to explain this to him? What was there to explain? Tang Wei, nothing will happen to Wei Chang, you don't have to be like this. Right after Yi Hua finished speaking, another beautiful figure appeared at the scene. Your Honor. I want to go and gain experience. Li Hun shouted respectfully, already determined to leave. Yi Hua was very speechless. Did these people go crazy today? Are they all going to die? What is the reason for this? Yi Hua asked Li Hun. Li Hun said respectfully, I can't even protect my own man. Now that I've lost him, I want to cultivate hard so that I can protect little Daodu. If Dou Fusher was here and heard this, he would definitely spit out blood. How about you be the man, and I be the woman? Li Hun's domineering words caused even Yi Hua to be shocked. Dou Fusher, you are a tragedy. However, with such a woman by my side, I won't waste my life. I should properly cherish this woman. Just as Yi Hua was about to continue speaking, another beautiful figure appeared at the scene. However, Yi Hua didn't expect that this person would actually be the weakest person in history, Dongfang Yuan. Your Honor. Dongfang Yuan shouted respectfully. What are you doing here again? Yi Hua was already able to guess what was going on. Your Honor, I want to go and gain experience. Dongfang Yuan said weakly. Just this voice and this appearance of hers that was being bullied was the favorite of the beasts. Yi Hua held on to his forehead. Originally, I only wanted my little brother to go and gain experience, but in the end, a large group of people came over and said that they want to go and gain experience. Do you all think that you are going to go sightseeing? Do you all know what it means to have a narrow escape from death? If all of you go, I reckon that only one of you will return alive. Why do you want to go as well? Isn't it good for you to stay here? Yi Hua asked in a low voice. This Dongfang Yuan has always been following Zhu Tian obediently, why did she suddenly want to go and increase her strength? Where is Zhu Tian's other wife, Guan Yanxin? In actuality, Dongfang Yuan came over sneakily, and she didn't tell Guan Yanxin about it. Dongfang Yuan said tenderly, Your Honor, Zhu Tian and Big Sister are both people with outstanding strength. I also want to become stronger and help Your Honor solve his problems. Damn, you women, I'm afraid that you all are just bored to death. Is there anyone else who wants to go? Why don't you all just form a group and go on a tour while you are at it? After that, you all will be exterminating all of the monsters in that world. You all are just forming a group to fight a boss, right? Do you all want me to arrange a tank, a damage dealer, and a healer for you all? The kind that can even distribute equipment. Yi Hua's subordinates remained silent. Yi Hua shouted out coldly, do you all think that we are going there to play? We will die, do you all know that? We will die. We will not be able to come back. Do you all think that I will go and save you all? I won't. I won't even care about my own little brother. This is simply like playing house. Seeing that his honor was angry, no one dared to say anything. I can find a bunch of reasons, all of them are invincible. They are just looking for a thrill. Yi Hua scolded out. Right now, I have no second thoughts, but when I go to that world, I will know what it means to live a life worse than death. Dongfang Yuan, begged respectfully, I hope that your honor will allow us to do so. Although Dongfang Yuan, looked very weak on the outside, and everyone wanted to bully her, her heart was very strong. Once she had decided on something, no one would be able to change her mind, not even a Kun would be able to do so. Following Dongfang Yuan's begging, the others hurriedly shouted out at the same time, I hope that your honor will allow us to do so. Hearing that, Yi Hua laughed lightly, all right. You all are courting death. I won't stop you all. 1 month later, all of you will set off and die. You all want me to come and save you all, dream on. After finished speaking, Yi Hua disappeared from the throne. In Yi Hua's heart, only the members of the 7 deadly sins would be able to go to that world. For someone with Yi Heng's strength, it would already be good for her to be able to protect herself. Furthermore, that world wasn't a one-on-one battle. The ancient ferocious beasts and divine beasts would gather together, and as long as the battle starts, more and more divine beasts would be attracted over. The divine beasts and divine beasts would have all kinds of strange spells, making it hard for one to guard against them. Even if the divine beasts and divine beasts were unable to kill you, they would still be able to exhaust you to death. Yi Hua returned to his bedroom. Right now, Donghuang Baiji had already woken up. She was currently sitting in the pavilion and playing the zither, and her mood seemed to be rather good. As expected, a woman still needs to be developed a bit. If not, how could her mood be good? End of this chapter. Chapter 1177. Yi Hua sat in front of Donghuang Baiji, picked up the teapot, poured a cup of water, and drank it in one gulp, making it seem as if he was drinking wine. What's wrong? Who provoked you? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. These subordinates are all acting like they're just playing around. They all want to go and gain experience. They're all crazy. Yi Hua said gravely. Of course, I don't wish for so many people to go and die. If that Tang Wei, Li Hun, and Dongfang Yu were to all die, how am I supposed to explain to them? It was really a little frustrating. Yi Hua, actually, after Wei Chang's matter, everyone wants to become stronger, I can understand that. Donghuang Baiji said tenderly. Standing behind Yi Hua, Donghuang Baiji's fingers lightly pressed onto Yi Hua's temples. Yi Hua closed his eyes, and his heart felt slightly more comfortable. Baiji, this is the same as courting death. If all of you die, I won't be able to bear it. Then I'll help a little. Help? What kind of experience would that be? Should I, the Supreme Overlord, play with them? Yi Hua reprimanded. How can I have such thoughts? This is too terrifying. Then let them go. We'll probably be wiped out. Look, you refute everything that I say. In actuality, you are still looking down on them too much. Donghuang Baiji said lightly. Yi Hua asked puzzledly, what do you mean by that? In truth, all of them want to work for you in their hearts, and not just laze around all day. This time, you sent out Absolute Heaven, Yi Zizi, Brett, and Kai Yun, these main forces, while they don't have any quests. What do you think they will think? I'm just thinking that I'm definitely too weak, and his honor doesn't think highly of me. Yi Hua said gravely, I don't want them to go out and take risks. The other party was even able to deal with Wei Chang, even if they went out, they would not be of any use. You know it too, and they know it too. That's why they want to work hard to increase their strength so that you don't have to worry anymore. They can share your burdens, yet you still scold them. If others had subordinates like you, they would wake up laughing even in their dreams. You really don't know how lucky you are. After hearing what the Empress said, Yihua felt that what the Empress said was a bit reasonable. This desire to become stronger is indeed not bad. I, the Supreme Overlord, admire it. It seemed that he really had to be ruthless to himself. He couldn't treat them like children anymore. Whether they lived or died would depend on their luck. With so many people going together, they would more or less be able to take care of each other. Wouldn't they be wiped out within a day? That was unknown. Then let them go. You go and talk to them. I am currently angry. Yihua walked into the house, and Donghuang Baiji shook her head. This bad habit of wanting to save face will definitely never be able to be changed. There were so many people in the entire group that wanted to court death, and as the boss, he would definitely be worried. However, he also couldn't stop them too much. This was what Yihua was feeling conflicted about. Evil Men City, the current Evil Men City had already been split into two by a deep chasm. The Sky Arena was also forced to be cancelled. It was because Deity Institution's principal Tai He went missing. This made everyone in Deity Institution panic badly. The principal actually went missing. How could this be? Did he fall into the chasm and die? That was a supreme being, not a little chick. The news of Tai He's disappearance quickly spread throughout the south, because this was the case of the supreme being's disappearance. However, probably no one would have thought that Tai He would be smashed by a single punch from Kai Yun, and it was even done in front of everyone. Towards this news, both City Lord Mu Hong and Xian Ba knew about it. However, they did not dare to say it out. To be able to smash in Supreme Being with a single punch, no one knew just how formidable that shorty was. On the second day, Changhen returned to Broken Meridian Sect. Because countless mountains in Broken Meridian Sect had collapsed, the entire Broken Meridian Sect could be said to be in a complete mess. Deity Institution had lost a principal, and Broken Meridian Sect had almost been destroyed by more than half. This was just the aftermath of the fight between Wei Chang and the black-clothed man. For a fight to reach such a degree, it was definitely not a joke. Long Out Yen and the others did not expect that such a thing would actually happen in this Evil Men City. We cannot continue staying here. Before the sky had even brightened, Long Out Yen brought his people and left, heading north. Qi Shuwen was the same as well. This place was not suitable to stay for long. Furthermore, something had happened to Water City. I have to hurry back. Xian Ba and Qi Shuwen had not met each other yet. Back then, the two of them were still good brothers. Zhu Tian and Brett's mission was to find Wei Chang. The two of them had already been at the scene for a very long time, and they were judging based on their own experience. Zhu Tian, from the looks of it, the degree of destruction here is very ordinary. This is not Wei Chang's full strength. Brett said indifferently. Right now, they could only deduce from these large pits because they could not find any clues at all. Zhu Tian rubbed his chin, standing in the void, he said indifferently, this is indeed not Wei Chang's full strength. However, the opponent's strength is not weak either. Wei Chang is controlling his strength to avoid destroying Kangluo continent. Brett said in a deep voice. Then, the opponent also has the same attitude? Zhu Tian sank into deep doubt. Brett said, Wei Chang revealed his true form, this is quite rare. Is the opponent really that strong? Maybe the opponent destroyed Wei Chang's physical body, forcing Wei Chang to reveal his true form. No, even Wei Chang's physical body is very strong, how can it be destroyed like this? Brett still could not believe it. Zhu Tian asked Brett, let me ask you something, do you believe that there is someone here who is evenly matched with us? Of course not. Brett said subconsciously. That's right, Wei Chang also did not believe it, so he underestimated the opponent. Wei Chang, who was forced to reveal his true form, was furious and crushed the opponent. The main point is here. Why did Wei Chang disappear without even sending out a distress signal? Zhu Tian could only speculate up to here, he was unable to understand anymore. Could it be that an even more powerful person appeared and defeated Wei Chang? Brett said in doubt. Impossible, if that person was able to defeat Wei Chang, then this Kangluo continent would be gone. Zhu Tian shook his head and said. Then why? Brett asked in doubt. Zhu Tian's expression became grave. There is only one possibility left. What? Looking at Zhu Tian's expression that was so bad, Brett couldn't help but become worried. Wei Chang betrayed us. They betrayed us. Absolute Heaven said coldly. Brett sucked in a cold breath. I wouldn't have thought about this at all. It is possible for anyone to betray us, but how could Wei Chang betray us? It must be said, Zhu Tian was indeed worthy of being the brains of the team. This was the reason why Yihua asked Zhu Tian to come over and investigate Wei Chang. Just by looking at the degree of destruction that was caused on the ground, Zhu Tian was pretty close to the truth. If Wei Chang betrayed us, then it would be troublesome. Zhu Tian said gravely. If Wei Chang were to really betray us, then it would be a huge blow to his honor. Back then, Yizizi had also betrayed his honor before, but that kind of betrayal only caused Yizizi to lose her memory and not recognize her. Wei Chang was obviously not like that. End of this chapter. Chapter 1178. Absolute Heaven said in a deep voice, Wei Chang faked his death, then betrayed us and disappeared. Do you think there's any possibility of this? Women always relied on their intuition. Impossible. You trust Wei Chang that much? Absolute Heaven asked indifferently. Wei Chang would never do something like betrayal. Absolute Heaven chuckled, don't forget, Wei Chang ate his entire clan. He is a person who can even betray his own clan. Brett was speechless. This was an indisputable fact. After a long while, Brett said softly, Absolute Heaven, we should still look for clues. As long as we find Wei Chang, we will know the truth. But I have a feeling that we are going to become enemies with Wei Chang. Brett snorted. Are your men's instincts accurate? I'm a cat. A cat's intuition is always accurate. TCH, Brett rolled his eyes at Absolute Heaven. However, Absolute Heaven immediately appeared in front of Brett. Lifting Brett's chin, he said, Woman, you've successfully attracted my attention. A black-bellied and overbearing CEO? The corner of Zhu Tian's mouth twitched. After kissing Brett, Zhu Tian looked at the scene and said, Do you know why his honor told me to look for Wei Chang? Brett rolled his eyes at Absolute Heaven, isn't it because you're smart? I just said, I'm a cat, and not an ordinary cat. Okay. I know you're an awesome cat. Can we not act cool? You have learned all of his honor's habits. Brett teased. Absolute Heaven chuckled, like boss, like subordinate. Hurry up, I'm afraid that only I, Absolute Heaven, can make you, Brett, act like a spoiled child. Hurry up. This is the woman I like. Crazy. Brett covered his forehead and laughed. A slight frown appeared on Absolute Heaven's face as he revealed his true form. I don't know if it will work or not. I can only give it a try. Cyan eyes. Absolute Heaven shouted in a low voice. His pupils instantly turned dark green, and strange runes appeared on his pupils. Seeing that Absolute Heaven was in a daze, Brett asked in a low voice, Absolute Heaven, how is it? Did you see anything? I was smelling it. Then you just shouted glaucoma. It's just a name. Don't speak. Yes. Absolute Heaven slowly entered a world of selflessness. The entire world around him was a vast expanse of darkness. Absolute Heaven opened his eyes and sniffed with his white nose. His pair of dark green eyes suddenly emitted 2 rays of light. This was the scene that Absolute Heaven had simulated based on the smell. This was also the last thing absolute heaven could do. Two rays of light turned into two human figures. Yi Juetian continued to sniff, and the human figures started to move. However, when absolute heaven saw one of the silhouettes stretching out a long arm, he was certain that it was Wei Chang. After all, Wei Chang was like this. However, the person on the other side had disappeared, leaving only Wei Chang. Absolute heaven's green eye suddenly disappeared, and his entire body fell to the ground. Although it had only been a few seconds, it was already a huge burden for absolute heaven. This move was very frightening. It had consumed 90% of absolute heaven's essence, energy, and spirit. In order to accomplish what he had just done, he needed to be highly focused. It was too difficult. Brett felt that only 5 seconds had passed before absolute heaven fell to the ground, giving him a huge fright. Absolute heaven. What's wrong with you? Brett hugged onto absolute heaven, and he was also badly frightened. It wasn't easy for absolute heaven to return back to his human form, and I still haven't had enough fun yet. If absolute heaven knew what Brett was thinking in his heart, he would definitely faint once again. Women, they only know how to feel good. Absolute heaven gasped for breath, then said gravely, seems like Wei Chang has really betrayed us. We have to quickly send this news back. What about your body then? I will be fine after resting for a few days. I can be at ease then. What did you see just now? Brett asked puzzledly. Wei Chang killed the other party very easily, and the other party has indeed disappeared. Doesn't this mean anything? Absolute heaven said coldly. If there really is a traitor among the 7 deadly sins, even if it is Wei Chang, they will still have to die. Brett's expression became very grave. From the current situation, it seems like Wei Chang has really betrayed us. Brett pondered for a moment, then said gravely, Absolute heaven, investigate this matter again. There must be evidence. If we were to tell His Honor right now that Wei Chang has betrayed us, I'm afraid that it would be inappropriate. There is nothing inappropriate about it, my green eye is the evidence. Then, can you tell me why Wei Chang didn't come back, and even concealed his aura? Perhaps, Wei Chang is doing something very important? No matter how important it is there a need to hide it from His Honor? You know Wei Chang's strength, other than His Honor and the 7 deadly sins, the others would only be killed. Telling His Honor about this matter is to let everyone be vigilant. Absolute heaven had his own considerations, he naturally didn't believe that Wei Chang had betrayed us. However, the truth was right in front of his eyes, that fellow ran away. He wanted to leave the team. If it wasn't for me using my green eye, everyone would have probably already been defeated by Wei Chang. Sigh, alright then. Brett felt that what absolute heaven said was right. Right now, Yi Hua was rummaging through his treasury again, and there wasn't any treasure at all. Your Honor. Brett's voice rang out in Yi Hua's mind. While rummaging through his treasury, Yi Hua asked, what's wrong? Is there any news about Wei Chang? Your Honor, we have come to a preliminary conclusion, and it isn't any good news. Yi Hua stopped what he was doing, then straightened his body, and his expression became grave. Since Brett said that it was bad news, it must definitely be very bad news. Speak. I'm afraid that Wei Chang has already betrayed us. After hearing that, Yi Hua remained silent. His brows were tightly wrinkled, and he found it hard to believe. After a long while, Yi Hua said gravely, continue to investigate. I want to see him in person. Your Honor, if Wei Chang is really seen by Wei Chang, and he betrayed us, what should we do? Yi Hua's eyes flashed with coldness, you all should know what to do. Yes. After finished speaking, Yi Hua left his treasury and sat on the chair with lifeless eyes. Suddenly, Yi Hua chuckled lightly. Wei Chang actually betrayed us. Ha, how is this possible? This honest person actually betrayed us. How is this possible? We have been together for thousands of years, if he wanted to betray us, he would have betrayed us long ago, why would he choose to betray us now? A terrifying energy emitted out from Yi Hua's body, and this caused the entire Wushu Empire to tremble slightly. Dong Huang Baiji immediately sensed it, and she immediately rushed over. Seeing that Yi Hua, who was sitting on the chair, seemed to have sunk into grief and indignation, without even thinking, Dong Huang Baiji immediately hugged onto Yi Hua. "It's all right now, it's all right now." Dong Huang Baiji consoled Yi Hua lightly. This was the first time that Dong Huang Baiji saw Yi Hua revealing such an expression. End of this chapter. Chapter 1179. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and lightly hugged onto Dong Huang Baiji, then said softly, "Baiji, do you think that Wei Chang will betray me?" Dong Huang Baiji's gaze was filled with shock. "Wei Chang betrayed me? How is this possible?" In Dong Huang Baiji's heart, Wei Chang is a loyal subordinate who usually looks simple and honest, and he also cares for Tang Wei a lot. Will such a person betray me? Dong Huang Baiji didn't dare to believe it. How can that be? Wei Chang is very smart. Dong Huang Baiji consoled. Right now, she could only console Dong Huang Baiji. Right now, Yi Hua probably already obtained accurate information. That would be very troublesome. Smart my ass, it is all just an act. Just like before, he doesn't use his brain when doing things. Yi Hua said fiercely, and his aura became stable. I didn't expect that right after I settled my mother's matter, Wei Chang would betray me again. This feeling is really not good. Yi Hua, we haven't seen the person yet, so we can't come to a conclusion too early. Dong Huang Baiji said attentively. Yi Hua felt that it was still better to see the person first. However, at the crime scene, Brett ended his conversation with His Honor and said softly, "Zhu Tian, His Honor wants us to continue investigating. We definitely have to investigate clearly. Let me rest for a few days first." Zhu Tian was a bit weak, and right now, he didn't even have the strength to transform into his human form. Brett nodded his head, "Let's find a safe place." However, right after Brett finished speaking, the entire sky was shrouded by darkness. Soon after, a black screen descended. Separated black sky. Along with an explosive shout, the entire world seemed to be shrouded by darkness, and the connection with the outside world was instantly cut off. Brett, who was hugging onto Zhu Tian's face, became gloomy, and Zhu Tian revealed a shocked expression, "Wei Chang." Not far away from Brett, Wei Chang's figure appeared. Brett looked at Wei Chang and discovered that Wei Chang's expression and clothes had changed. In the past, Wei Chang had a crew cut, but today, Wei Chang actually had long hair, and there was even an exquisite bun on his hair. Furthermore, Wei Chang was wearing a black silk robe, which gave people a very bad feeling. Furthermore, when Wei Chang, who was used to seeing crew cut, looked at Wei Chang, he seemed to be a completely different person. "You guys are finally here. It's within my expectations. However, His Honor will definitely send you, Zhu Tian, over. I'm not at ease, so you, Brett, have to come as well." Wei Chang placed both of his hands behind his back and said in a light voice, and a slight smile could be seen on his lips. Standing in Brett's embrace, Absolute Heaven asked in a deep voice, "Wei Chang, you betrayed us. This shouldn't be considered a betrayal. I've just found a new way of life." Wei Chang smiled faintly. Indeed, he was a completely different person from before. In the past, Wei Chang was very calm and wouldn't reveal such a smile. However, the current Wei Chang seemed to have let go of himself. It was hard to believe that this was Wei Chang. Brett had no choice but to believe that Wei Chang had betrayed them. "Then, what is your current lifestyle?" Absolute Heaven asked in a deep voice. Wei Chang clicked his tongue, took a deep breath and said, "I'll kill you." Brett and Absolute Heaven's expressions sank. They had never imagined that the first thing Wei Chang would do after betraying them would be to kill them. "In order to prevent you all from notifying His Honor, I had intentionally set up a black sky barrier here. As long as you all pay a bit of attention, you will be able to detect it. However, I am also waiting for you." Zhu Tian, in the end, you still used green light eyes. Absolute Heaven's expression was very grave. Wei Chang was waiting for him to use glare. This dark version of Wei Chang has become very smart. Zhu Tian, if you didn't use glare, I wouldn't be a match for the two of you together, but now, Brett, who had an explosive temper, shouted out angrily, "What? Are you looking down on me? Do you think that I can't defeat you?" Wei Chang laughed lightly, then shook his index finger. "Of course not. If you were by yourself, you would have a 50% chance of winning, but now that you are bringing along a weakened Zhu Tian, you would have a 30% chance of winning. Of course, if you don't care about Zhu Tian's life and death, we would still have a 50% chance of winning." Looking at that strange smile of Wei Chang's, Brett was about to explode from anger. He couldn't think of any words to curse at Wei Chang. Despicable. His honor told us to learn about human nature. I feel that being despicable is also a type of human nature, but isn't being despicable also a type of being smart? Zhu Tian, the leader of your team is going to be replaced by me. It's a pity that I am no longer a member of your team. Zhu Tian pointed his claw at Wei Chang and shouted out gravely, "Wei Chang, aren't you afraid of his honor? Do you think that his honor will let you off?" "Afraid? Of course I am afraid of his honor. His honor is so powerful, how can I possibly not be afraid? Yet, you still dare to betray his honor?" Zhu Tian questioned coldly. Wei Chang let out a light sigh. "I am afraid of his honor, but I didn't say that I don't dare to betray his honor. There is a difference between the two. If I don't do it because I am afraid, using his honor's words, what difference is there between me and a salted fish?" Absolute Heaven couldn't find any points to refute Wei Chang's words. As he looked at the Wei Chang before him, he felt that Wei Chang was a stranger to him. "Cut the crap. Let's fight." Brett directly stuffed Absolute Heaven into his own chest. The latter had a dumbfounded expression on his face. Profound colored treasured moon. A magnificent bow condensed in Brett's hands. Absolute Heaven, who was in Brett's bosom, said in a low voice, "Distance yourself from him." With a flash step, Brett widened the distance between them. He placed his right hand on the bowstring and pulled it into the shape of a full moon. An arrow condensed from pure energy appeared on the bow, and a terrifying aura spread out in all directions. Wei Chang's long hair fluttered, and his clothes rustled. "Brett, in our entire team, everyone's understanding of each other is rather familiar, you have to be careful," Wei Chang said with a slight smile. Absolute Heaven said in a low voice, "Brett, don't listen to his alarmist talk, fight according to your own way of thinking." "Enough. You two bastards, stop shouting. When I was fighting, the two of you weren't even born yet." Brett, who had a fiery temper, immediately started scolding. Zhu Tian rolled his eyes, then obediently shrunk into Brett's chest. This woman is truly not to be trifled with. If you have the time to scold people, you should think about how to not die. Wei Chang said lightly, then emitted out a layer of black fog from both of his hands. The black fog then slowly fell onto the ground and fused into the ground. "Dark ghost insects," Wei Chang said lightly. Immediately, countless black insects could be seen gushing out from the ground. These insects were able to fly, and they were emitting a faint black light. Buzzing sounds could be heard as they flapped their wings. Immediately, a large number of black insects appeared in front of Brett, and even Wei Chang's figure couldn't be seen anymore. Insignificant skill. Brett loosened his right hand. Baiu. A white arrow carrying a swift and fierce aura flew towards Wei Chang. This was also one of Brett's normal attacks. The white arrow instantly pierced into the mass of black insects, and a white radiance could be faintly seen. Brett's expression turned grave. Wei Chang stood at his original position, not moving at all. The white arrow was like a cloud of smoke as it smashed into Wei Chang's forehead. End of chapter. Chapter 1180. Wei Chang revealed a light smile. "Brett, your profound rainbow treasured moon is indeed very strong, but the only place it is lacking is its energy attack. Don't look at how these insects' attacks are not strong, but there are a lot of them, and they can absorb the energy, so your profound rainbow-treasured moon is useless against me. Brian frowned. Looks like you're targeting me. Of course, His Honor will definitely send Zhu Tian over to investigate me. There is an 80% chance that you will appear here. Of course I have to prepare. Wei Chang smiled faintly, appearing very confident. Brett chuckled and said, so what? After saying that, he drew his bow again, and a violent aura condensed on the bow and arrow. With a whistling sound, he shot towards Wei Chang. I told you, this move is useless against me. Just as Wei Chang finished speaking, he suddenly felt a terrifying aura gathering above his head. Heh! Tiger roar and dragon roar. 2 white arrows condensed on Brett's bow. When they were shot out, one of them turned into a white tiger. One turned into a white dragon. This was probably the roar of a tiger and the roar of a dragon. A fierce pressure suddenly rushed towards Wei Chang. The 2 huge mythological beasts opened their mouths as if they wanted to swallow Wei Chang whole. Wei Chang said indifferently, Brett, you seem to have forgotten one thing. In fact, I was born to restrain you. Wei Chang's arms turned into a ferocious big mouth monster, directly devouring the 2 energy bodies. His entire body gave off a white light, making him feel very comfortable. Only you, Brett, have such pure energy. Brett's face darkened, and he distanced himself. Brett, change your weapon, Absolute Heaven said in a low voice. I know. Brett removed the profound rainbow-treasured moon in his hand, and a bow made of dragon bones immediately appeared in his hand. The bow's tip even had a miniature dragon head, and the bowstring was supported by dragon tendons. The 10 dragon arrows that appeared on the back were also made of dragon bones. Dragonborn. Brett shouted coldly. Wei Chang smiled and said, although you changed your bow, the profound rainbow-treasured moon is your strongest weapon. This dragonborn doesn't do enough damage. Bullshit. Brett pulled out a dragon arrow and shot it into the sky. However, he did not stop there. He shot 5 arrows in a row. Crap. Aren't you being too wasteful? Absolute Heaven could not help but say. You only had 10 dragon arrows, yet you took away 5 of them in one go. Shut up. Absolute Heaven rolled his eyes. This fiery temper of Sure Fang's was truly unbearable. 5 elephants annihilation. Brett shouted. 5 dragon arrows floated in the air, giving off a strange aura. The arrowheads were aimed at Wei Chang. Puff! The 5 dragon arrows emitted flames of different colors, illuminating the dark space. The terrifying pressure reappeared once again. The entire space trembled slightly, and the air was like boiling water. As the pressure continued to grow, the space seemed to be on the verge of being torn apart. That's more like one of the 7 deadly sins, Brett. Wei Chang said with a smile. Bayubiabubiu. The hovering dragon arrow carried a destructive aura as it flew towards Wei Chang. Before the surrounding insects could even touch the arrow, they were instantly evaporated. These bugs were only effective against energy bodies. When they encountered physical bodies, they were simply unable to withstand a single blow. Tentacles of darkness. Wei Chang smiled. Countless tentacles surged out of the dark space, heading straight for the 5 incoming dragon arrows. Although Dragonborn was slightly weaker, it was paired with Dragon Arrow and Brett's strength. Just as Wei Chang had said, these were the true 7 deadly sins. Under the pressure of the dragon arrows, cracks began to appear on the ground. If it were not for Wei Chang's sky-separating darkness, the surrounding ground would have already turned into powder. After all, this was a battle against Wei Chang. Brett was going all out. It was impossible for him to go easy on Wei Chang. This was a battle of life and death, not a joke. The moment the tentacles came into contact with the dragon arrows, they turned into thin air. However, the tentacles that kept surging out were also consuming the dragon arrow's power. Right at this moment, Wei Chang felt a dangerous aura assault him, and his brows tightened. He frowned and grabbed the dragon arrow, saying, Brett, when did you learn how to create a diversion? Just as Wei Chang finished speaking, another dragon arrow flew towards him, and Wei Chang grabbed it again. Kill him quickly. Brett shouted coldly. The dragon arrow flew towards Wei Chang's head at an incredible speed. Wei Chang's expression sank, and he tilted his head to the side. Blood floated in the air and sprinkled onto the ground. Wei Chang tightened his grip, and the two dragon arrows instantly broke and fell to the ground. Wei Chang stretched out his hand and touched his cheek. Looking at the blood on his finger, Wei Chang said indifferently, Brett, after doing so much, you only scratched my face. Hee, do you think it's a joke for me to sit on the seat of the 7 deadly sins? Brett shouted coldly as he quickly formed seals with his hands. Absolute 5 array. The 5 dragon arrows in the air instantly erupted with an even more terrifying aura. Under this aura, the tentacles were all shattered. The 5 dragon arrows carried the aura of death, and all of them hit their target. A huge rune appeared on the ground. Be careful, Zhu Tian said in a low voice. However, Brett lowered his head and glared at Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian shrunk his head. Of course, Brett did not expect to be able to kill Wei Chang like this. If it was really that easy, then Wei Chang would not be worthy of the 7 deadly sins' strength. When the smoke dispersed, a black figure appeared once again. However, this time, it was not in human form, but Wei Chang's original body. For some reason, when Brett saw Wei Chang's original body, he felt like vomiting. Those tentacles were too disgusting. Disgusting to the extreme. If Tang Wei saw it, she would definitely break up with him. Brett, this doesn't seem to be your style. Wei Chang said gravely. People will change. Do you think that you understand me very well? Brett snorted coldly. Wei Chang sighed lightly, looks like I have indeed underestimated you, Brett. Wei Chang, I want to ask you something. Please ask. Don't you want Tang Wei anymore? Brett questioned. Wei Chang went into a slight daze, then said with a smile, when have we ever felt pity for a human? This isn't the style of us 7 deadly sins. Looks like you are planning to abandon everyone. I really miss my previous life. At that time, Lai Gu was still a dog. Wei Chang said with a mocking tone. This caused Brett and Zhu Tian to be even more unhappy. Wei Chang suddenly asked Brett, oh right, have you guys seen me using weapons before? Brett and Zhu Tian went into a daze. They really have never seen it before. Aren't Wei Chang's weapons its tentacles? Other than eating, it only knows how to eat. Could it be that it has other weapons? We have never seen it before. Actually, I do have a weapon. I didn't manage to comprehend it during the previous group wipe, and I only managed to comprehend it recently. Even I myself didn't expect that this weapon would appear. This weapon is a lot stronger than an ancient divine weapon. I wonder if it can reach the legendary weapon that His Honor spoke of. End of this chapter. Chapter 1181. Legendary Weapon. Absolute Heaven and Brett cried out in surprise. His Honor had said that legendary weapons were the only weapons that were capable of injuring His Honor. If even His Honor was able to injure His Honor, then there was no need to talk about them. I was planning to keep it a secret, but now I have to reveal my cards. Come out. Taisui Giant Shadow. Wei Chang shouted coldly. Half of Wei Chang's tentacle could be seen slowly rising up, and that small head of Wei Chang's gradually swelled up, turning into a ball. If it was a ball, it would be fine, but half of the tentacles had hundreds of them. In other words, hundreds of balls were floating around Wei Chang. Be careful. Absolute Heaven said gravely. Brett could feel the pressure of these balls, and his forehead was already beaded with sweat. This might be a natal weapon. It's my first time using it. Try it out. Wei Chang smiled. The hundreds of balls actually opened their mouths. Brett's entire body was prepared to move at high speed. A terrifying black aura was condensing. Zhu Tian said gravely, let's think of a way to break through this swelling first. Call his honor over. Brian did not say anything. Wei Chang's life weapon that had suddenly appeared was a little troublesome. However, just as Brett was deep in thought, a wave of killing intent assaulted him. Brett immediately started moving at high speed. Absolute Heaven, who was in his chest, tightly grabbed onto that soft spot. He had no choice, as he felt as though he was about to be flung out. Brett could feel how terrifying this beam of light was. Furthermore, Wei Chang controlled it very well and did not pierce through the black barrier. Such control made Brett's expression turn even heavier. Brett, the speed of the archer is indeed very fast, but it is still a bit too slow. Wei Chang laughed lightly, and all 100+ balls opened their mouths. Brett's expression was grave. Actually, I lied to you just now. With my natal weapon, you and I can only see victory and defeat. I have 10 layers. And you? No. Brett was so enraged that his complexion turned red. If Absolute Heaven had not lost his strength earlier, the two of them would not have fallen into such a predicament. Terrifying light beams shot towards Brett. Brett pushed his speed to the limit, but the light beams were too dense. In just a breath's time, more than 10 wounds had appeared on Brett's body. Although the vital parts had been moved away, Brett was still in a sorry state. Wei Chang was too strong. Furthermore, he couldn't use his strongest weapon, so he was completely suppressed. However, he had no choice but to stall for time. Delay a little more. When Absolute Heaven saw the increasing number of wounds on Brett's body, he felt his heart ache. This damnable Wei Chang. He really wanted to kill the two of them. Suddenly, Wei Chang stopped his attacks. He looked at Brett, who was in the air. Brett was in a sorry state. His hair was disheveled, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. He had lost his previous imposing manner. Although this victory is a little unfair, who asked Absolute Heaven to lose his strength? Moreover, I just so happened to be able to restrain you. If Yi Zizi or that dog were here, we might be able to fight for a while longer, Wei Chang said with a faint smile. Brett panted heavily and raised his head slightly to look at Wei Chang. I didn't expect you to be so strong now. If I don't force myself, I'm afraid I won't even know how powerful I am, Wei Chang said calmly as the terrifying black beam of light condensed once more. Brett suddenly let out a charming laugh. Why did Absolute Heaven feel that Brett had gone mad? What are you laughing at? Wei Chang, do you really think you've become smarter? You're still as stupid as before. Brett shouted coldly as he quickly formed a seal with both hands. Under Wei Chang's feet, the 5 symbols formation that had disappeared earlier shone once again. Wei Chang's expression froze as he glared at Brett. Wei Chang. If his honor is here, do you think you can still be this arrogant? 5 symbols destroy the heavens. Brett. Wei Chang roared, and his entire body was engulfed by the white radiance that was emitted out by the formation. The white radiance soared into the sky and instantly broke through the black barrier. Brett sent a distress signal to his honor, and after that, Brett was no longer able to hold on and fainted. The 5 symbols destroy the heavens just now was condensed by Brett. Due to Wei Chang's strength, Brett had condensed all of his strength into the formation, all for the sake of breaking through the black barrier and sending out a distress signal. However, within the white radiance, a black figure could be seen walking out slowly. Bloodstains had already appeared on Wei Chang's body, and Wei Chang was still bleeding. This move of Brett's caused Wei Chang to suffer a loss, but Wei Chang won because of his natal weapon. Brett. You have truly made me have a whole new level of respect for you. Absolute Heaven blocked in front of Brett, Wei Chang. If you dare to touch a single hair on her today, I swear. I won't kill you in this lifetime. I swear I won't let this matter rest. The black radiance condensed once again, and Wei Chang said faintly, Absolute Heaven, everyone will die, it is only a matter of time. Right after Wei Chang finished speaking, the terrifying black radiance that brought along an astonishing power struck towards Absolute Heaven and Brett. The two who were completely defenseless could only wait for death. Divine Light Shield. Boom! A golden wall directly landed in front of absolute heaven, and the hundreds of black radiance ruthlessly collided onto the wall. Creak, creak, cracks immediately appeared on the golden divine light shield. With a bang, the golden divine light shield shattered and turned into dust. Yihua slowly descended to the ground and stood in front of Wei Chang, then said faintly, "As my subordinate, you will not die in this lifetime." Looking at his honor who was in front of him, absolute heaven rolled his eyes and directly fell onto Brett's body. "Subordinate pays respect to his honor," Wei Chang said with a slight smile. However, this time, Wei Chang only said it with his mouth and did not do anything. Looking at the unfamiliar Wei Chang in front of him, Yihua's expression became very gloomy. Even when he heard the distress signal that Brett sent over, he still found it hard to believe. However, right now, he believed it. "Put away your hypocrisy," Yihua said coldly. "All right." Wei Chang laughed lightly, then transformed back into his human form. "Your honor, don't you have anything you want to ask, subordinate?" Wei Chang asked curiously, and his tone carried a hint of ridicule. Yihua said faintly, "To me, Wei Chang is already dead." "Your honor, if you say it like that, subordinate will feel very sad." Wei Chang held onto his chest and said with a comical look on his face. Yihua took a deep breath. "Although I really don't want to accept this fact, I have no choice but to accept it right now. This bastard has already betrayed me. Since your honor has come to save them, subordinate will not continue anymore. I am looking forward to meeting with your honor again. At that time, subordinate will not be lenient anymore." Wei Chang revealed a smile, then disappeared from the spot. A breeze blew past, and Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Soon after, Yihua left the scene with Brett and Zhu Tian. Brett's injuries seemed to be very serious, but in actuality, they were all external injuries. Just like Zhu Tian, Brett had overexerted himself. Yihua stood at the side and looked at Zhu Tian and Brett. Zhu Tian was the first to wake up, and he was still in his original form. Looking at his honor who was beside him, Zhu Tian hurriedly asked, "Your honor, where is Wei Chang?" End of this chapter. Chapter 1182. He ran away. Yihua said faintly, and his tone was filled with helplessness. For the people of the 7 deadly sins, it was very easy for them to run away. What? Why did his honor let him escape? Zhu Tian was confused. Yihua let out a long sigh, counted as my grace towards him for serving him for 1,000 years. The next time we meet, I won't be lenient towards him anymore. Zhu Tian did not say anything. Aside from today's matter, Wei Chang's loyalty was still brimming. What his honor did was also within reason, and his honor didn't have any complaints. The two of you rest well. Let's put Wei Chang's matter aside for now. He still doesn't dare to make a move in front of me," Yihua said lightly. Although there was no change in his expression, in actuality, he was still very shocked in his heart. Wei Chang really rebelled. This honest Wei Chang had betrayed the team, betrayed everyone. Absolute heaven squatted on his bed. He, too, found what had just happened unbelievable. However, the truth was right before his eyes, and he had no choice but to believe it. Brett was beaten to such a state by Wei Chang. "That's right, that you, of yours is going to go and cultivate, you can do as you see fit," Yihua said faintly. The fact that Wei Chang had betrayed Yihua was already a fact, so it was useless for Yihua to be worried about Wei Chang. "You, is going to cultivate? Where are we going to cultivate?" Absolute heaven asked curiously. Tang Wei, Li Hun, the green and red brothers all went to that great desolate plain. Of course, this sovereign's little brother is also there. What? Aren't they courting death by going to that kind of place? Absolute heaven was dumbfounded. To him, he could do whatever he wanted. However, to them, it was completely impossible. Yihua let out a light sigh. "If they want to become stronger, and I am unable to stop them, I will just let them be." Should we tell Tang Wei about Wei Chang? Absolute Heaven asked. Let's hide it for now. After finished speaking, Yihua disappeared from where he was. I feel a bit tired. Zhu Tian looked at Brett who was beside him, and hurriedly went to look for Dongfang Yuer. This woman, she couldn't figure it out. After recovering some of his stamina, Absolute Heaven quickly found Dongfang Yuan. Absolute Heaven, didn't you go look for Uncle Wei? Why did you come back? Dongfang Yuan asked doubtfully. I heard from His Honor that you are going to cultivate. Absolute Heaven directly asked. With your weak and delicate appearance, you actually dared to go to that kind of place? Who gave you the courage to do so? Dongfang Yuer gently bit her lips, lowered her head and did not speak. Do you not want to stay by my side anymore? Absolute Heaven asked in a deep voice. No, I didn't. Absolute Heaven, don't misunderstand, Dongfang Yuer hurriedly explained. Then why? Isn't it good to live here? Why take the risk? Dongfang Yuan said in a low voice, I want to make you proud, I don't want to be a useless vase. Hearing Dongfang Yuan's words, Absolute Heaven was slightly taken aback. He never thought that Dongfang Yuan would have such thoughts. I hope that you can live a good life. You don't have to go to that kind of place to take risks. That kind of place is not something a girl like you can stay in. Don't look down on me. I can do it. Dongfang Yuer said softly. Even if her words were clearly domineering, she could make them sound soft, without any aggressiveness at all. Listen to your accent. Can you even fight? It's not intimidating at all. I want to go. Dongfang Yuan was sometimes very stubborn. When a woman became stubborn, it was still very scary. I forbid it. I want to go. Although Dongfang Yuan's tone was soft and gentle, her eyes were filled with determination. Even Absolute Heaven could feel it. If that's the case, I will lock you up. Then you better lock me up for life. You were very obedient to me in the past, why aren't you listening to me this time? Absolute Heaven questioned. Just who was it that led my Dongfang Yuan astray? Dongfang Yuan said in a low voice, Absolute Heaven, I will listen to you. But this time, I definitely want to go. I have already made up my mind. I don't want you to suffer so much. I can only look at you and am unable to help you. Absolute Heaven looked at Dongfang Yuan quietly, then turned around and left. Absolute Heaven seemed to be very angry. Looking at Absolute Heaven leaving, Dongfang Yuan was a bit sad. Yihua returned to his bedroom. Dong Huang Baiji, who had just finished cooking, came over. Yihua, it's time to eat. I don't have any appetite. You eat. Yihua pondered while supporting his forehead. No matter how big the matter is, you should think about it after eating. Be obedient and listen to me. Dong Huang Baiji pulled Yihua to the dining table and placed the chopsticks on the table. Yihua let out a deep sigh. You are still young, you shouldn't sigh so often. I made your favorite crayfish, the taste is definitely authentic. Let me peel the crayfish for you. While speaking, Dong Huang Baiji began peeling the crayfish for Yihua. Where else can I find a wife like this? Wei Cheng really betrayed me. Yihua said in a low voice, then took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Dong Huang Baiji's hands stopped moving, then looked at Yihua with an astonished expression. Is it verified? Yihua nodded his head. I saw it with my own eyes. The crayfish that Dong Huang Baiji was holding in her hand fell onto the ground. He really betrayed me, the honest Wei Cheng actually betrayed Yihua. Dong Huang Baiji could believe that anyone would betray Yihua, but Wei Cheng was the only one she didn't think about. After all, in the past, Yihua would always look for Wei Cheng whenever he was free, and Wei Cheng was very loyal to Yihua. But now, Wei Cheng betrayed me just like that. This is too strange. There must be a reason behind this. Yihua seemed to know what Dong Huang Baiji was thinking about. There is no need to explain for Wei Cheng anymore. That fellow said that he will not be lenient towards me next time. Yi Hua, although you have already said it, I still can't accept it. That's right, how can I accept it so quickly as well? The dishes on the table didn't move. Yi Hua was silently smoking his cigarette, and Dong Huang Baiji was thinking of a way to help Yi Hua. Right now, Wei Chang was standing in a small forest, and in the middle of the forest, there was a bonfire that was emitting out sizzling sounds. As expected of one of the 7 deadly sins, Wei Chang. You have really broadened my horizons. Right at this moment, a man suddenly appeared and laughed loudly. On his forehead, there was a mark that resembled a W, which looked very strange. Afterward, another man appeared, and on his forehead, there was also a similar strange mark. And on Wei Chang's forehead, there was also a mark. Just that, the mark was covered by Wei Chang's hair. I really didn't expect that gluttony, who is one of the 7 deadly sins, would be able to defeat wrath so easily. I reckon that he even has the strength to fight against a supreme overlord. The man at the side said in disdain, Supreme Overlord is nothing. Supreme Overlord is indeed nothing, but in front of that Supreme Overlord, you are nothing. Tisk, the man could only use this method to express his disdain. Wei Chang smiled and said, the two of you be quiet, don't disturb me when I am looking at the fire. Wei Chang. Do you know that you are a newbie right now? Do you know what a newbie is? You are going to serve tea to an old man. Quickly go and pour a cup of tea for me, I am dying of thirst. A trace of an evil smile appeared on the corner of Wei Chang's mouth, then he opened his huge mouth and instantly swallowed the tea. End of this chapter. Chapter 1183. The other man swallowed his saliva and sweat appeared on his forehead. Go get me a glass of water. Wei Chang chuckled, but in the eyes of the man, it was a devilish smile. Yes. The man did not dare to disobey and quickly went to fetch water. Soon, the man came back with spring water. Wei Chang took a sip. It's quite sweet. Yes, yes. The man said respectfully. This Wei Chang is a bit more cruel than I thought. One of the 7 deadly sins, Wei Chang, your reputation is not as good as meeting you in person. Not far away from Wei Chang, a black vortex appeared, and a man and a woman walked out from it. The man walked in front while the woman walked behind. The man's hairstyle was a little weird. One side of his head was bald, while the other side had long hair. There was a golden thorn dangling from his earlobe. Her face was a little dark. In Wei Chang's eyes, this might be smoky makeup. The woman at the back was beautiful and gave off a cold aura. Her snake-like waist was exposed, and she wore a breastplate and leather pants. She also carried 2 swords on her back. However, both of them had a W mark on their foreheads. Are you the contact? Wei Chang asked with a smile. Now, Wei Chang could even smile often, which was quite good. Yes, my name is Falling Dust, and the one behind me is Drunken Cry. We are both from the imperishable shrine. On behalf of the shrine master, I welcome you to join us. Falling Dust bowed slightly in welcome. Wei Chang took another sip of the clear spring water and said softly, it seems that this operation is aimed at me. Falling Dust laughed softly and said, Wei Chang, don't misunderstand Hall Master's meaning. He just wants to help you find the path you should take. This path is truly interesting. I am now very interested in this Hall Master, said Wei Chang with a smile. Impudent. Drunken Cry roared. Falling Dust's face fell, and he gave a backhand slap. You're the insolent one. How dare you shout at gluttony, one of the 7 deadly sins. Yu Tong. Drunken Ming covered his face in disbelief. Humph. If it weren't for Wei Chang's good mood today, you would have become food in his stomach. Just like that idiot just now. Falling Dust shouted coldly. Drunken Cry didn't say anything else. He stood there obediently, but his eyes were filled with unwillingness. Luo Chen, forget it, forget it. Little girl, don't scold me so badly. Wei Chang laughed. That slap just now was really ruthless. Falling Dust bowed slightly and said with a smile, Wei Chang, this subordinate was insensible, please forgive me. Who's going to argue with a child? Wei Chang is right, drunken cry. Pay more attention in the future. Yes, Yu Tong. Wei Chang gently waved his hand and extinguished the fire. Shall we go? Wei Chang, please. Wei Chang walked into the whirlpool with steady steps, and then disappeared. Let's deal with it. Don't leave any evidence behind, Falling Dust muttered before walking into the black vortex. Yes. Drunken Cry said respectfully. Drunken Cry looked at the remaining man, and the latter slowly retreated. Leader, you ordered us to lure you here. You can't kill me. This is a quest with certain death, regardless of whether I complete it or not. Drunken Cry drew his sword, then quickly sheathed it. The entire movement was done in one go, without any delay. Drunken Cry confidently turned around and walked into the whirlpool. The entire black whirlpool disappeared as well. However, the man's body froze on the spot, falling off piece by piece. The entire scene made everyone gasp in amazement. Too strong. The man that turned into pieces turned into blood water and merged into the ground, as if he had never appeared in the first place. Other than the smoke coming out from the bonfire, it was hard to prove that someone had been here just now. As for where Wei Chang went, no one knew. However, what was certain was that he was definitely not in the Kangluo continent. From Drunken Cry's attitude, it could be seen that he did not want to leave any evidence behind and kill his own people to silence them. Savagery Index, 5 stars. Bright Mist Communal Country. The largest city in the entire south, and within it was the entire Shin Academy. At the same time, it was also a place that everyone yearned for. After all, being able to enter the Shin Academy was equivalent to bringing glory to one's ancestors. The weather in the south was very pleasant, at least that was what Yizizi and Kaiyun felt. The two little fellows had just walked into Bright Mist Communal Country, and you asked them what they did before. Yizizi would definitely pretend to say that they went to scout out the surrounding environment and set up an escape route. This Bright Mist Communal Country seems to be even bigger than our Wushu Empire. Kaiyun looked at the city walls that stretched as far as the eye could see and muttered. Yizizi said while bouncing about, that's right, this Bright Mist Communal Country is the largest city in the Kangluo continent. It's just that the streets here are a bit crowded, and the population here is bursting. The two sovereigns seem to be studying inside. When are we going to go and take a look? Of course we have to go and take a look. However, it is still better for us to go and do our proper business first, and find envy. Yizizi knew that his honor was very anxious right now. Kaiyun conveniently took a candied haw and licked it. We don't even have any clues. How are we going to find envy? I have an idea. Yizizi said confidently. What idea? You, follow me. Yizizi pulled Kaiyun into a small alley, then took out a drawing book and a colored pen from her storage ring. What are you doing? Kaiyun asked blankly. Drawing. Why are you drawing? To find someone. But, are you drawing a person? I feel that it does look like a person. Yizizi placed the drawing book in front of Kaiyun. Kaiyun held onto his forehead. You're a pig. That's right, envy is a pig, and it's the ugliest pig. I can recognize it with a single look. Pfft. Kaiyun was stupefied. I had thought that we were a good-looking team, but I heard that Ching Su is a big fatty, and this envy is also a pig. I don't believe in that good-looking team anymore. Actually, Ching Su is handsome when he becomes thinner. Who isn't handsome when he becomes thinner? Kaiyun rolled his eyes at Yizizi. Yizizi held on to her own drawing. It's not without reason that he is called envy. This fellow is jealous of all men in the world, and even his honor is jealous of him. He swore that he will become his honor's appearance, drive a big G car, and go to harm big sisters, and become a scumbag. The problem is, no matter how much this pig transforms, he won't be able to look like a human. Kaiyun had a look of disbelief on his face. Yizizi wagged her index finger. Then, you are wrong. You can treat this envy as a human-shaped pig. He walks with his 2 legs, and of course, he can also switch to 4-wheel drive mode. Wow, he can switch between 2-wheel drive mode and 4-wheel drive mode at any time, he's so crafty. Of course, have you ever seen a pig that wears clothes? He can even wear a hat and chase after big sisters all day, but he has never succeeded before. Kai-yun had a stupefied look on his face. I don't believe that there is a second Muren in this world. I feel the same way too, that subordinate of yours sure has luck with women. I feel the same way too. End of this chapter. Chapter 1184. Kai-yun sighed lightly, but, it is unrealistic for you to go and look for someone with this kind of portrait. If Envy really switched to a 2-wheel mode, she would definitely be killed by the people here. That makes sense, let's go and look for her at the pig rearing area. Yi Zizi said seriously. Kai-yun, my god, how can one of the 7 deadly sins, envy, live together with a group of pigs? Kai-yun held onto his forehead. He had a new understanding of Yi Zizi's mind. Luckily I brought you out this time. The last place His Honor found Envy's aura was here, and then it disappeared. So, it might not be here, it might have already disappeared, so what? Let's go and look for Little Honor to play. Kai-yun, just a moment ago, we were still talking about completing His Honor's mission, and now, we are going to look for Little Honor. But, looking for Little Honor is still more fun than looking for a pig. The 2 children directly walked towards Shin Academy. At the periphery of Minglan communal country, there were all residential areas, and there was also the Emperor area. But at the center was Shin Academy, which was divided into the outer courtyard and the inner courtyard. Yi Yan and Yi Lu were now inner academy students, extremely well known in deity institution, their titles of child prodigies already not a problem. But, Yi Yan and Yi Lu encountered a problem, the dean went missing. The 2 little fellows sat on a bench in the academy. Little sister, I feel that the dean has played himself too much. Yi Yan said helplessly with a blade of grass in his mouth. Although it had only been half a year, Yi Lu's appearance had already started to change, becoming more beautiful. Yi Lu threw away the blade of grass in her brother's mouth. Brother, how many times have I told you, it is very dirty. Ha, my little sister is still the best, caring for me so much. Yi Yan held onto Yi Lu's shoulder and laughed. Yi Lu immediately rolled her eyes. When father and mother left, they even said to let big brother take care of me, but in the end, it was me who took care of you. The students that passed by were already used to it, the relationship between this pair of brother and sister was very good. This was also what Yi Hua hoped to see. Biological siblings should be like this, if they were left at home, the estrangement would only get deeper and deeper. Brother, I feel that father asked us to come over, on one hand, it was to let us study, on the other hand, it might be related to the dean. Yi Yan nodded his head, that's right, now that the dean has gone missing, what should we do? Do I have to continue studying? If I continue to study, there are still more than 10 years left. It's a bit hard. Yi Yan exhaled deeply. He couldn't find anything to play with even if he wanted to. A few days ago, Uncle Wei's aura was so terrifying. I wonder what happened, Yi Lu said worriedly. Yi Yan's face was at ease. Uncle Wei must be teaching the bad guys a lesson. But it caused a huge commotion. This has never happened before. Maybe he met a powerful person. Don't worry, Uncle Wei is terrifying. He can deal with the enemy in minutes. I really want to go home and see everyone, Yi Lu murmured, his eyes filled with longing. I've already been out for half a year, I miss my mother. I miss my father, sister, don't panic. Unless Dad comes and allows us to go back, we can go back. Mom can't make the decision. Yi Yan seemed to have recognized the truth and looked like he had accepted his fate. However, right at this moment, a student ran over respectfully. Senior Sister Yi, someone is looking for you in the living room. Although Yi Yan and Yi Lu were only children, they had already made a name for themselves in the inner courtyard. They had even caught the dean's eye. Everyone had to obediently call them senior brothers and sisters. Joy appeared in Yi Yan's eyes. Could it be? Yi Lu immediately ran out. Sister, wait for big brother is old, his legs aren't as nimble anymore. Following Yi Yan's words, the surrounding junior sisters all covered their mouths and laughed lightly. He is obviously a little guy, but he is still pretending to be an old man. Yi Yan blew kisses towards these little sisters. He was very flirting with them. If Yi Hua were to see his son acting like this, he would definitely smack his son's butt. Flirting with girls at such a young age, what will happen when he grows up? The siblings quickly arrived at the living room, and two small figures appeared in front of them. Aunt Yi, Aunt Kai. Yi Lu cried out in surprise. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun's mouth twitched, then took a look at each other. Their gazes seemed to be saying, are we that old? You two little fellows, even if you grow up in the future, we will still look like this. Calling us aunties since young is rude. Do you want big sister to know? They are even taller than us. Yi Yan shouted out joyfully, Aunt Zizi, Aunt Kai Yun, why did you two come? Did Dad ask you two to come and bring us home? No. Yi Zizi said with a slight smile. No matter what, I have watched them grow up. Hearing that, Yi Yan and Yi Lu immediately revealed a disappointed expression. Kai Yun rubbed onto the two little fellows' heads. This time, we came over with your father's orders. Wow, Aunt Zizi, Aunt Kai Yun, what mission do you two have? Can you tell Yan about it? Yi Zizi and Kai Yun took a look at each other. Yi Yan immediately pounced into Yi Zizi's embrace. Aunt Zizi, I beg of you, can you tell us about it? In this world, probably only Yi Yan would do such a terrifying thing. Because, children like Dong Huangli, God Yi, and Yi Lu wouldn't act like a spoiled child. Yi Yan had been hanging around Dong Huangli since young, and he often acted like this. Yi Zizi couldn't do anything about it. She said softly, your father asked us to find someone. Find someone? Who should I look for? I am very good at finding people. Yi Yan just wanted to go out and play, he was bored to death staying in the academy. Yi Lu was the same, her gaze was filled with curiosity. One of your father's subordinates. Kai Yun said with a smile. Yi Yan and Yi Lu's mouth turned into an O shape. Of course, they have heard of my father's subordinates. There are still two that are currently missing, and I didn't expect that my father would start looking for them. I want to go too. Yi Yan immediately said. Although Yi Lu didn't say anything, she also looked like she wanted to go. Yi Zizi wanted to play with Yi Yan too, Kai Yun wanted to go too, the more the merrier. Seeing that Yi Zizi was puzzled, Yi Yan hurriedly said, Aunt Zizi, after we find the person, we will come back, okay? No one will know, my father will definitely not find out. Will the two of you complain? Yi Zizi squinted her eyes and said. This Yi Lu is reliable, as for Yi Yan, he is as bad as Ali. I promise, I will listen to the two aunties. Yi Yan patted on his chest and guaranteed. As a man, not even Tan Kun would be able to catch up to his words. Go and apply for leave then. Yi Yan said helplessly, Aunt Zizi, our dean has gone missing, there is no one to care about us anymore. However, Yi Yan didn't know that it was Aunt Kai Yun who smashed the dean into pieces with a punch. Gone missing, so pitiful. Kai Yun nodded his head, indeed pitiful. End of this chapter. Chapter 1185. Then. Yi Zizi's eyebrows twitched. Yi Yan instantly understood. He looked at his sister with a look that said, are you leaving or not? Yi Lu used to be a very honest child, but she had been influenced by her brother recently. Actually, it was mainly because school was too boring, and he wanted to go out and play. Let's go. Yi Zizi shouted. It's time to go out and play. It's been a long time since I brought Yan along to act cool. Oh yeah, little sister, keep up. Yi Yan immediately ran to the front, like a child who was set free. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun looked like little kids. They really didn't look like their aunties. When he was at the door, he was stopped. Fortunately, Yi Yan and Yi Lu were famous. Yi Yan directly said, "The dean is missing. We must find him. It's my duty." Actually, everyone knew that Yi Yan and Yi Lu were about to be taken in as disciples by the dean, and now they all had to call him eldest senior brother. If this big senior brother wanted to go out, who could stop him? Yi Yan didn't expect it to be so easy. If he had known, he would have definitely sneaked out to play. "I feel like I'm in a prison. Today, I'm finally free." "Oh yeah," Yi Yan bounced around and looked around. There were a lot of snacks. But the taste wasn't that great. They didn't even add any seasonings. They didn't even add cumin powder. Good chicken tastes bad. "Sister, this tanghulu is not bad. Lick it." "No licking. It's fine if you don't want to lick it." "I'll lick it. It's so sweet," Yi Yan said happily. He licked it together with Yi Zizi and Kai Yun. However, Yi Lu walked beside him like an adult. "Auntie Zizi, do you have any clues?" The four of them ate, drank, and had fun in the city. Yi Yan finally got to the point, but Yi Lu had already lost interest. It was better to go to the academy and cultivate. It was even more boring outside. Yi Zizi drank the cold black tea and said with a comfortable expression, "No." "Then how are we going to find them?" Yi Lu asked blankly. Auntie Zizi was still the same as before. She wasn't that reliable. Kai Yun put his palms together. Buddha-style searching. "Auntie Kai Yun is so awesome. We're going to have some fun." Yi Yan liked Kai Yun's attitude towards life. She did whatever she wanted to do and was not in a hurry at all. Unlike his own sister, who looked like she was in a hurry right now. Kai Yun stroked Yi Yan's head. "We'll just play happily." "Auntie Kai Yun is right," Yi Yan said with a chuckle. However, right at this moment, a series of hurried footsteps came over and surrounded the four of them. The four children stared blankly at these servants. They were dressed in gray robes and held long rods in their hands. They looked fierce and fiendish. At a glance, they could tell that they were servants who relied on their master's power. Excuse me, young Master Ding." A man dressed in luxurious clothing slowly walked over. "Wow, that is the richest man in our bright mist communal country. Ding Jun. Child Ding. That's right. Just look at the way he walks. You can tell that he has a mine at home. Child Ding is still very generous, okay?" "Indeed." The surrounding people discussed in low voices. The lackey standing beside Ding Jun shouted, "Today, young Master Ding will pay for the whole street." When this news was announced, the entire audience was in an uproar. Everyone cheered young Master Ding for being generous. When Ding Jun heard these cheers, he instantly felt as if he was floating. However, looking at those little guys in front of him, Ding Jun revealed out an evil smile. These little kids look really good. Especially that ponytail girl, she is simply so adorable. And that ice-cold girl, she will definitely become a goddess-like figure in the future. And that slightly older girl at the side, she is so innocent and romantic. As for the boy at the side, forget about it. I will beat him up and throw him out of the city later on. Who knows, he might be killed by a different race. The surrounding people seemed to have received hush money and began to act as if they didn't see anything. "Yo, which family's young master is this?" Yi Yan stood out confidently. The flute on his waist was very conspicuous, as expected of a boy who knows how to play the flute. It is able to blow people to death. Ding Jun touched his hair and said with an insolent look, "Those who give me face all call me young Master Ding. What a coincidence, most people call me Big Brother Yi." Although Yi Yan is small, that insolent aura of his is not familiar at all. How can this kind of small figure be dealt with by Aunt Zizi and Aunt Kaiyun? "Ha, just you little guy. Ah. Tue." Ding Jun held a mouthful of phlegm and smeared it on the ground. The yellow phlegm is so disgusting. At the very least, Yi Zizi and the others were disgusted, wishing that they could just kick this man to death. You are truly too disgusting, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. Yi Yan frowned. I can tolerate anyone, but I can't tolerate people who are disgusting. Little sister, come and take care of this, big brother, I really can't stand this thick phlegm. Yi Lu immediately kicked him. You can't stand it, do you think I can? And you still call yourself big brother? When I go back this time, just watch how I complain to mother. Once you don't even take care of your little sister, everyone else will be a crazy protector of their little sister, and you will be the crazy protector of your little sister. Little brat. In this entire bright mist communal country, other than the deity institution which isn't mine, everything else is mine. Do you understand? What a coincidence. I'm a student of the deity institution. Do you know Sovereign Taiha? He's prepared to take me as his disciple, and I am currently considering whether or not I should accept him. Yi Yan stood with his hands behind his back, looking like he was soaked in sweat. Be more serious. Yi Lu really couldn't take it anymore. Can't you give your opponent some respect? Yi Yan knew what his little sister meant. He took out his flute and prepared to blow it. Meanwhile, Yi Lu covered her ears. When Ding Jun heard this, why did it sound so unpleasant to hear, you? Supreme Taiha will take in a child like you? Little fellow, you need strength to act cool too. Yi Yan and Yi Lu's news did spread in the deity institution, but outside, very few people knew about it. It was reasonable that Ding Jun didn't know them. When I, your big brother Yi, acted cool, you were still a mollusk. Everyone was confused. What was a mollusk? Even Yi Lu was confused. However, Yi Zizi and Kai Yun's faces sunk. As expected, Yi Yan became bad. He became an old driver. Although Ding Jun didn't know what Yi Yan was cursing about, looking at Yi Yan's appearance, he definitely didn't have good intentions. Little fellow, you are courting death. If I, young Master Ding, kill people here, even the deity institution won't dare to interfere. Young Master Ding, I advise you to look behind you before saying anything. Yi Yan smiled faintly. Ding Jun went into a daze. When he turned around, there was nothing at all. There was only a chill in his crotch. Big brother. What are you doing? Yi Lu protested coquettishly. She hurriedly turned around. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun didn't avoid it because they weren't human at all. End of this chapter. Chapter 1186. Little Pigeon. Yi Yan couldn't help but tease. Even smaller than my brother Yez. Ding Jun flew into a rage out of humiliation, pointing at Yi Yan and shouting, "Kill him for me. Kill!" The servants around him roared and cheered for themselves. However, at this moment, a few words floated down from the sky. Cut the water with a knife and the water will flow even more, drink a cup to drown your worries even more. A figure landed in front of Yi Yan. He was skinny and wore a black bamboo hat. His entire face was covered by a black veil. However, judging from his physique, he should be a handsome guy. This man's voice was really pleasant to listen to. Coupled with that faint sadness, it could simply enchant young girls. This was a man who could recite poems. He was too attractive. That back view was really mesmerizing. Who are you? Ding Jun asked angrily. Famous people don't resort to insinuations. I'm a pig's liver. Yi Yan's little face was embarrassed after hearing this. What an outstanding man. My brother Yi likes men like you. Poser. Pig's liver. If you know what's good for you, then scram. Do you know where this is? This is me. Can you put on your pants first before saying such harsh words? The surrounding girls don't like to look at you. The pig liver centipede sighed softly. This was basically saying, this guy can't do it, I'll do it. Only then did Ding Jun realize that he was in a neutral position. He immediately pulled up his pants. Kill them. Wait. The pig liver centipede stretched out its palm and shouted. What are you doing? Tearful eyes look at flowers, flowers don't speak, red flies over the swing, Ding Jun was speechless. Yi Yan, everyone, motherf asterisk cur, just because they don't get along, they start spewing out poems. Kill him. I've never seen anyone so arrogant. Do it. Wait. The pig liver centipede shouted angrily, shocking everyone. Ding Jun was on the verge of despair. What the hell do you want? Zai Fei, Ding Jun couldn't take it anymore when he saw that pig liver hyena was about to burst out with poems again. Not only Ding Jun could not take it anymore, even Yi Yan could not take it anymore. Him blowing his flute alone was enough to make people feel despair. Who would have thought that this pig liver's recitation of a poem could make people go crazy? He had finally learned something today. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. The surrounding crowd cheered together. All of the servants could be seen running towards the pig liver meat, and then, we're all brothers, so don't be too harsh. After saying that, pig liver Denglong squatted down with his hands on his head. Bang bang bang, the scene was very messy. At the very least, Yi Yan and Yi Lu were very confused. Wasn't this guy here to save the damsel in distress? Why was it so miserable? He had thought that it was a king, but to his surprise, it was a bronze. The time taken to brew a cup of tea passed, the servants were already gasping for breath and stood away. The moon shines brightly in front of my bed, and I suspect it to be frost on the ground. Beat him to death for me. Beat him until he can't speak. Fight. Ding Jun was completely confused. If he could, he really wanted to cut his head open. Another 10 minutes passed. Geese geese geese, crooked neck towards the heavens song, PFFF, before he could finish shouting, he was punched. Young Master Ding, this brat is a little troublesome. We can't even beat him to death. One of the servants' hands were trembling, and the skin on his fists was broken. Ding Jun didn't know what to say now. Was this pig's liver unkillable? He actually stood up again. Right now, pig liver Denglong seemed to be so great. That majestic back view seemed to be blossoming with golden light. You are ruthless, brat. Ding Jun was convinced, I have never seen such a lowly person before. Ding Jun brought his people and left just like that. The speed at which he ran was very fast, as if he had seen a ghost. Pig liver Denglong coughed lightly and slowly turned around. At this moment, the world seemed to have become quiet. Quietly, I'm coming, quietly. I'm leaving again. Pig liver Denglong broke into a run. Yi Zizi shouted coldly, Pig liver Denglong. Don't think that just because you became skinny, I won't recognize you. This voice of yours, even if you turn into ashes, I will still recognize you. Yi Zizi immediately disappeared from where she was, and Kai Yun did the same as well. Yi Yan and Yi Lu hurriedly blocked the way, and pig liver Denglong was surrounded by the 4 people. I say. I, pig liver Denglong, at the very least saved your lives, is this how you repay me? Pig liver Denglong said helplessly. Seeing that there were a lot of people around, Kaiyun hurriedly formed a hand seal, and the few people all disappeared, a few kilometers away from the city. Pig's liver meat. Yi Zizi shouted again. Aunt Zizi, who is this? Yi Yan asked curiously. Yi Lu seemed to have guessed it. She looked at Auntie Kaiyun and guessed it too. Kaiyun asked curiously, Zizi, who is this? Yi Lu, it seemed like he had still overestimated Auntie Kaiyun. Yi Zizi said in a low voice, this is the famous envy. Yi Yan's and Kaiyun's little mouths had turned into an O shape. The pig liver worm sighed deeply. Yi Zizi, I'm already in this state, yet you still recognize me. Hee hee, with your accent, do you think I can't recognize you? Yi Zizi snorted coldly. The pig liver macaque took off its bamboo hat and finally revealed its face. Other than Yi Zizi, everyone else had a long face. This was truly a pig's head. Yi Yan was very puzzled. Why was it that his father's subordinates were all humans, but he was a pig? The pig liver mantis might be an exception, but this was its true form. It could switch between 2-drive mode or 4-drive mode at any time. However, just now, when the pig liver mantis was being beaten up by the group, it wasn't that it didn't want to fight back, but rather, it didn't move. This was also one of the pig liver mantis weaknesses. Because the pig liver mantis was the kind of person that would become stronger when encountering strong opponents, no, it should be said that once jealousy was born in its heart, it would erupt. The deeper the jealousy, the stronger the eruption of jealousy. However, when the pig liver mantis lost its jealousy, other than being unkillable, it didn't have the slightest bit of attack power, and it was no different from an ordinary pig. If one were to say who was the most abnormal person in the entire team, other than Ching Su, then it would be the pig liver mantis. When it got jealous, it wouldn't even know what its surname was. Pig liver mantis, your memory seems to be normal. Yi Zizi asked curiously. Of course, my memory is very good. Then why didn't you come back? I don't believe that you couldn't sense it. Yi Zizi questioned. The pig liver mantis straightforwardly sat on the ground. Big sister, I still want to play for a bit more. It isn't easy for me to be able to take a stroll outside, and I don't have to listen to His Honor's words. How happy I am. What you said is somewhat reasonable. Yi Zizi and Kaiyun nodded their heads, expressing that they agreed. Yi Zizi continued to ask, something isn't right. Why did you conceal your aura? Fuck, that fellow Wei Chang was fighting with earth-shattering power, he definitely encountered some trouble. I thought that His Honor would definitely come and look for me, so I concealed my aura. Even if I came, it would be useless, isn't it enough for you two to be by His Honor's side? The pig liver mantis rubbed onto its pig nose and mumbled. End of this chapter. Chapter 1187. Yi Zizi didn't want to talk nonsense with Yi Zizi anymore. His Honor is summoning you now. That fellow Ching Su is already in a mess, and Wei Chang has also gone missing. What? The pig liver centipede's face sank as it cried out in alarm. You said Wei Chang is missing. The one who disappeared that day. How is that possible? The pig liver centipede knew Wei Chang's strength. How could he just disappear like that? Yi Zizi said solemnly, it's not just missing. It was very likely that he had already betrayed them. Doesn't His Honor know about your personality? That's why he sent me to look for you. The pig liver hyena stood up and gazed at Yi Zizi. Smoke rises in the great desert, the sun sets in the long river. Speak human language. Yi Zizi clenched her small fist and said in a deep voice. Pig liver Meng Meng swallowed his saliva and said, if His Honor needs this subordinate, I will not hesitate to die 10,000 times. If I don't enter hell, who will? I have already decided to sacrifice myself for His Honor. Do you want to play for a few more days before going back? Pig liver gnome added. Everyone, at this time, Yilu asked seriously, Aunt Zizi, what happened to Uncle Wei? I also felt Uncle Wei's aura that day. Did Uncle Wei go missing? Why did you say that Uncle Wei betrayed us? Yi Lu raised his question. Yi Yan also put away his smile, appearing incomparably serious. Uncle Wei had gone missing and rebelled. How was this possible? How could Uncle Wei be such a person? Uncle Wei's loyalty to his father could be seen by the sun and moon. He would never do such a thing. Yi Zizi stroked Yi Lu's hair. Lu, study hard with Yan, We'll take care of the family. Don't worry. Yi Zizi had forgotten that they were present. These little fellows often played with Wei Chang when they were young. Their relationship with Wei Chang was also quite deep. Who are these two kids? The pig liver macaque asked curiously. They are little sovereigns. Kai Yun added. He had originally thought that Envy would give his all in a battle of life and death, but in the end, in just a day's time, this fellow had appeared on his own. Kai Yun suddenly recalled that this pig liver centipede had probably done it on purpose. Given Yi Zizi's appearance, How could the pig liver macaque not recognize her? She probably wanted to save face, so she used such a method to appear. Kai Yun's guess was correct. Pig liver stew was like this. What? His Honor's child. Isn't His Honor a skeleton? Does it shoot the bone marrow? The pig liver macaque was astonished. I completely don't understand what His Honor is doing. The child is actually already so big, my God. Why doesn't he look like His Honor at all? Shouldn't he be a little skeleton? At this time, Yi Yan said, Daddy is not a skeleton. Daddy is a human, okay? Uncle Pig, you are out. His Honor has turned into a human. The pig liver Denglong asked Yi Zizi in a low voice. Yi Zizi said in a low voice, that's right. Back then, when His Honor was a skeleton, you were already jealous of him. Now that His Honor has become a human, you will be even more jealous of him. Oh my God. Right now, I have the strength to fight against His Honor. The pig liver Leopardi actually had such a crazy thought. However, pig liver Teng wasn't bragging. In the entire team, everyone would be able to fight against Yi Hua, but the probability of them losing would be very high. Only the pig liver centipede, if it was envious enough, it would still be able to fight against Yi Hua. At the very least, it wouldn't lose so badly. With your current appearance, you still want to fight against His Honor, TSK. Yi Zizi rolled her eyes and said. The pig liver Leopardi carried on to Yi Yan, causing the latter to be startled. What are you doing? Quickly let go of me, my God, this is so scary. I want Daddy, little Your Honor, don't be afraid, Uncle Pig loves you. Yi Zizi said cautiously, alright, stop joking around, we have to hurry back. The pig liver Leopardi placed Yi Yan down, little Your Honor, in the future, Uncle Pig will play with you. Right now, I have to go and help His Honor work. After resting for more than 10 years, I have to work day and night again. Kai Yun said towards Yi Yan and Yi Lu, the two of you hurry back. We have to leave now. If His Honor were to find out about this, he would definitely teach us a lesson. Yi Zizi warned. Yi Lu was still fine, it was just that Yi Yan was not obedient. Yi Yan nodded his head, Aunt Zizi, Aunt Kai Yun, Uncle Pig, you all can leave first, we will be returning to the academy in a while. Alright. Yi Zizi nodded her head, and the three of them instantly disappeared from where they stood. Yi Yan let out a deep sigh, little sister, will Uncle Wei really betray us? Do you believe it? I don't believe it. Then isn't it settled? Let's go back. But before we go back, we have to go and have a good chat with that young Master Ding. Yi Yan said with an evil smile on his face, and the two little fellows disappeared from where they stood. Within Wushu Empire, Yi Hua was sitting on the throne, and Donghuang Baiji had also rarely appeared. The main reason was because she heard that Yi Hua's new subordinate had arrived. However, when she saw Yi Hua's subordinate, Donghuang Baiji was also extremely astonished. Why is it a pig? Furthermore, it is such a skinny pig. It is definitely not full yet. Subordinate. Pig liver Leopardi pays his respect to His Honor. His Honor. Get up. Yi Hua said lightly. Even though it has been more than 10 years since he last saw pig liver Leopardi, Yi Hua's mood was still so horrifying. However, when he saw that pig liver Leopardi had returned, Yi Hua's mood became a bit better. Qing Su's escape and Wei Chang's betrayal had already caused Yi Hua to be deeply worried. Pig liver Leopardi's return was finally normal, and the sadness in Yi Hua's heart had lessened. I am very happy that you are able to return, but I am also very curious, how did you become so skinny? Pig liver Leopardi let out a light sigh, my worries are with the bright moon, following the wind till the west of the night. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun who were at the side, the corner of Yi Hua's mouth twitched slightly. When did this fellow start reciting poems? Donghuang Baiji had a whole new level of respect for pig liver Leopardi. I didn't expect that under that appearance, he would have such literary talent. He should be the most knowledgeable man in the world. Good fellow. Pig liver leopardi also secretly sized up your wife. As expected of his honor's woman, this appearance is top-notch. Speak human words. Yi Hua said in a low voice. To actually dare to act coquettishly in front of me, this is enough. Your honor, you should know of my weakness as well. If I am too fat and can't even fit into my clothes, how would I be able to live in the human world and experience the feeling of a human? Yi Hua didn't expect that pig liver leopardi would have such a realization. Curiously, he asked, what have you experienced? Other than love, I have experienced everything. Pig liver leopardi said with an incomparably regretful tone. What brotherly love, after seeing my face, all of them will fall out with me. Of course, before seeing my face, we were still addressing each other as brothers. Dong Huang Baiji thought to herself, this pig liver leopardi, seems like he wants Yi Hua to be the matchmaker for him. However, this face of his is probably a bit scarier than Blue Sky Hong. Yi Hua laughed lightly, then said gravely, Wei Chang has already betrayed us. End of this chapter. Chapter 1188. The faces of the three subordinates darkened. Yi Zizi asked gravely, Your honor, did Wei Chang really betray us? That's right, I saw it with my own eyes, and I even injured Brett. Yi Hua said coldly, and his eyes were emitting out coldness. To be honest, the pig liver centipede had not seen Wei Chang for more than 10 years. Its memory of Wei Chang was still from a long time ago. That brainless but very loyal man, but Kai Yun understood Wei Chang a little, but now that Wei Chang had betrayed him, it was very hard for him to accept it. That man actually rebelled. I really don't understand. Why did you betray his honor? Did the other party offer a higher price? Anyway, he just couldn't figure it out. Yi Hua said gravely, I'm afraid that Wei Chang has already gone to another place. Therefore, the current strategic deployment is on Qing Su. This fellow kidnapped Wei Chang's underling, and I reckon that Wei Chang's life is not in danger for the time being. However, we can't just sit here and do nothing. Your honor, are we going to look for Qing Su first? Yi Zizi asked curiously. There's no need for that. White Bones is already looking for him. You all stand by and let me think about it. Oh right, let's get together tonight. Yi Hua said lightly. After all, the return of the pig liver centipede could still be celebrated, and it would also be good to sweep away the bad luck. Yes. Your subordinates will take their leave. Everyone respectfully shouted and left. After his subordinates left, Yi Hua pressed onto his forehead. He was still a bit gloomy, and no matter how hard he tried, he wasn't able to feel happy. Dong Huang Baiji arrived behind Yi Hua and said softly, Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? I'm a little tired. Yi Hua said lightly. Right now, I am starting to miss my life at the bar. Opening a bar and whatnot, watching cartoons and chatting with the aunties at the entrance. Sigh, how about going out to relax? I'll accompany you. Dong Huang Baiji said lightly. I'm not in the mood to relax. Yi Hua said faintly. You can't continue on like this, I'm afraid that you might get depressed. Dong Huang Baiji teased. After hearing that, Yi Hua laughed, It is fortunate that they left you behind. If not, there wouldn't be anyone who would dare to console me. Yeah, everyone else is scared to death of you. I treat you so well, but you still bully me. Baiji, help me relieve my boredom. Go to hell, it's broad daylight, Dong Huang Baiji said petulantly. It's not like I haven't tried it before in broad daylight, let's go, if not, I'm going to get depressed. You. I really admire you. Dong Huang Baiji was very helpless and could only accompany Yi Hua to relieve his boredom. In the bedroom. Dong Huang Baiji said coyly, Yi Hua. We can't retreat. Why can't I retreat? I want to retreat. This won't do. We can only press forward. Who said there's a rule? I can even do an S shape. You. I'm not playing with you anymore. Okay, okay. I'll hold on, okay? General. You lost. Dong Huang Baiji immediately clapped her hands happily. Looking at the chess set in front of him, Yi Hua's face sunk. In the future, I will set the rules. All right, you are the boss, I will listen to everything you say. Dong Huang Baiji said with a light smile. Sometimes, Yi Hua is just like a child. It's getting late. Aren't you having a celebration party? It's about time for us to arrive. Don't put on a stern face tonight, be a bit more cheerful, drink some wine, and brag and whatnot. Dong Huang Baiji said tenderly. Dong Huang Baiji felt very sorry for Yi Hua. Yi Hua nodded his head, then brought Dong Huang Baiji to attend the banquet. Meanwhile, in the banquet hall, all of Yi Hua's subordinates were present. Of course, other than Wei Chang and Lai Gu, Dou Fushi and White Bones were also present. Zhu Tian and Brett were also present. Zhu Tian was still in his cat form, while Brett only had external injuries, which healed in a short while. However, Zhu Tian still seemed a bit weak. The pig liver macaque was very curious. Why does His Honor have so many subordinates? Furthermore, there are so many beauties. Did His Honor arrange this gathering because he knew that I was coming back? His Honor truly understands me too well. However, everyone was also looking at the pig liver macaque suspiciously. Who is this? It can't be that he is His Honor's new underling, right? Why does he look like this? Looking at the pig liver macaque, Zhang Kongheng felt a bit of relief in his heart. Finally, I am not the ugliest man. At the very least, I still have a human face, I am truly fortunate. The pig liver macaque was sizing up everyone, and suddenly, it saw a beautiful figure. This caused the pig liver macaque's heart to tremble. Wow! What a weak girl, isn't this the girl that I, the pig liver macaque, am protecting? Look at that expression, she is simply like a fairy. Such a girl actually doesn't have a man by her side. My chance is here. Pig liver roast. Absolute Heaven cried out in surprise. Looking at Absolute Heaven and Brett, Pig Liver Mantis was stunned for a moment. Big Tabby Cat. How did you end up like this? Zhu Tian, damn it, it's still the same as before. Why did you come back? Brett asked calmly. You canon woman, it was naturally His Honor who called me back. I heard that you were. Just as Pig Liver Mantis was about to speak, Absolute Heaven swung his tail, smacking Pig Liver Mantis's face. The pig liver macaque was shocked and almost spilled the beans. But this big tabby cat is really too much of a bully. I will not be jealous of you. Brett hugged Absolute Heaven, causing Pig Liver Centipede to be dumbfounded. What was going on? Had Brett embraced the heavens? Did the sun rise from the west? Just look at Absolute Heaven, rubbing against me with all his might, he's practically exactly the same as me. Their relationship wasn't very good in the past. How did it become like this today? What are you looking at? This is my husband. Brett snorted. Pig Liver's jaw almost dropped to the ground. He couldn't help but moan. Absolute Heaven. Have you gone mad? You actually dare to go up to this kind of woman? Pig Liver Centipede said in a low voice. Brett's beautiful eyes turned cold. Scram. I like her, it's so comfortable, bite me. Absolute Heaven actually knows how to show off now, causing Pig Liver Centipede to be dumbfounded. This cat is fake, right? Hearing what Pig Liver Centipede said, Brett's face became slightly red. She pinched onto the cat's flesh, causing Absolute Heaven's fur to stand up from the pain. Hee hee, acting cool. Pig Liver Centipede pouted his mouth. This is clearly going to be beaten to a pulp by Brett. This idiot, this kind of woman still dares to go up to me, just wait to be destroyed. Look at that soft and weak girl, that is what a woman should be. Absolute Heaven, I have something to ask you. Pig Liver Centipede said sneakily. Absolute Heaven said snappily, what is it? Do you see that girl? Absolute Heaven looked over, and discovered that what Pig Liver Centipede said was actually my you. Absolute Heaven was also startled. What do you want to do? Absolute Heaven had a bad premonition. Introduce me to her. Pig Liver Centipede's eyebrows twitched. Sorry. I don't have eyebrows. Brett immediately shouted out, come over for a moment. Absolute Heaven and Dongfang Yu were quarreling, and that was why Dongfang Yu was so far away from them. However, hearing Brett calling out to her, Dongfang Yu still walked over. End of chapter. Chapter 1189. Pig Liver Macaque feels that this name is very nice. She was too compatible with this person. It was as if he would protect her forever. Sister, what's the matter? Dongfang Yu asked in a low voice. Brett said softly, he wants to get to know you. Introduce yourself. Oh. Dongfang Yu didn't know what was going on and said to the Pig Liver Macaque, Hello, I am Zhu Tian's wife, my name is Dongfang Yu nice to meet you. When Pig Liver Macaque heard that greeting, his pig head became crooked from happiness. But when he heard the last sentence, his pig face trembled. What? Such a woman was actually the big tabby cat's wife. Didn't this cat not like women? Back then, he even said that women were dirty. Was it fragrant now? Was everything he said in the past all bullsh*t? He even said he was a germaphobe. Germaphobe your sister. Pig trotters. The Pig Liver Macaque was speechless. She was someone else's wife. Was he going to snatch her away? What a disappointment, this kind of exquisite woman is actually following Absolute Heaven, this cat. Just that little needle of his, tsk, would other people feel anything? Such a waste of such a beauty. What a pain in the ass. Have you thought it through? Absolute Heaven asked calmly. Dongfang Yu said in a low voice, I want to go. Go back and face the wall. Absolute Heaven said in a deep voice. The Pig Liver Macaque at the side was stunned. Damn. This kind of woman is meant to be protected, and you actually yelled at her. Was he still a man? Absolute Heaven. How can you yell at others like this? This is not pleasing to the eye. The Pig Liver host stood in front of Dongfang Yu, looking like he was going to meddle in her affairs. Zhu Tian said in a low voice, Pig Liver, I'm disciplining my wife, what does it have to do with you? Originally, I didn't want to interfere, but I just can't watch you bully others. That's why I'm taking care of it. The Pig Liver Mane snorted coldly. Originally, it was you, Absolute Heaven, who forcefully seized it. Then, I, the Pig Liver Mane, will definitely not sit idly by. The atmosphere at the scene was a little heavy. Dongfang Yuan said softly, Thank you for your good intentions, I am Zhu Tian's wife, I should listen to him. Dongfang Yuan was very serious, and she was speaking from the bottom of her heart. However, there is a bit of a problem with her tone. Those who are familiar with her would know, while those who are not familiar with her would think that. Dongfang Yuan spoke very helplessly, but there is no one who can help her. Pig Liver Centipede felt this way. Sister Yu, don't panic. If you have any grievances, just say it. I will stand up for you. Big Tabby Cat. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. Speaking of grievances, Dongfang Yuan had indeed been feeling very wronged recently. She wanted to help Absolute Heaven, but Absolute Heaven did not support her. Instead, he scolded her and even locked her in a room. If she dared to run away, he would beat her up. That was why Dongfang Yuan choked with sobs. Everyone was shocked to see Dongfang Yuan crying. Could it be that Absolute Heaven was abusing others? Otherwise, how could it be like this? Hearing the choking sounds coming from behind him, Pig Liver Centipede said angrily, Absolute Heaven. You still dare to say that you didn't bully him? Sister Yu, don't cry anymore. You should leave such a person. I say, Pig Liver. Are you crazy? You don't need to worry about my wife. Zhu Tian revealed his cat claws, looking as if he was going to claw you. However, right at this moment, when the pig liver macaque saw his honor, it shouted out loudly, "His honor, quickly come over." Zhu Tian is already unable to continue with domestic violence against his wife, he wants to divorce his wife. Everyone, this pig liver is also not a good person. He actually wants someone to divorce. This is simply outrageous. Yi Juetian, who walked in, was a little confused. Who was this, to actually treat him as a big brother? Your Honor, there is a grievance here, we have to deal with it impartially. Pig liver Dang was very anxious. It would be best if I can get them to divorce, that way, I will have a chance. Brett reminded, pig liver macaque, that is his honor's blood-related younger brother. What? Even his honor has a blood-related younger brother. The pig liver Leopardi had a look of astonishment on his face. This is too much nonsense. His honor is a skeleton, why is this younger brother of his not a skeleton, and furthermore, he looks so similar to a skeleton. It was too amazing. It turned out that the undead had brothers too. However, after his honor turns into a human, he is indeed very handsome, causing me, the pig liver, to feel very jealous. What are you making a fuss about? A cold voice rang out. The subordinates didn't dare to be disrespectful, and they respectfully shouted out, "Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Your honorable wife. Your honor, your madam, many blessings." Yi Hua and Dong Huang Baiji appeared, and just when they arrived, they heard the quarreling sounds. Yi Hua said lightly, "Everyone, this is my subordinate, his name is Pig Liver Dang. Everyone, in the future, you should walk around more often." How would Yi Hong and LV Shu dare to walk around more often? This is simply like the neighbor next door. If we walk around more often, our wives will be stolen away from us. Look, he has already taken a fancy to Zhu Tian's wife. Yes, your honor. The subordinates still agreed to Zhu Tian's proposal. Yi Hua nodded his head in satisfaction, then asked, "Pig liver macaque, what were you blabbering about just now?" Your honor. Zhu Tian is going to divorce you, Everyone, you are making things that didn't even exist seem to be the truth now. Zhu Tian hurriedly said, "Your honor, don't listen to Pig Liver Dang's nonsense, you, and I have a very good relationship, we don't have any plans to divorce." Pig Liver Macaque. What do you mean by that? Yi Hua asked gravely. He was a bit unhappy. Are you trying to cause trouble right after coming back? Pig Liver Macaque took a deep breath, the spring tide brings the rain in the evening, there is no one to cross the river. Everyone, your honor, with your discerning eyes, can't you see that they are not suitable for each other? Yi Hua, Dong Huang Baiji, at this moment, Dong Fang Yu, said respectfully, "Your honor, these are all misunderstandings, Zhu Tian and I only had a small quarrel these few days." Pig Liver Macaque's eyes lit up. Your honor. Did you hear that? They even quarreled. We definitely won't be able to continue living like this, it would be best for us to let go of each other as soon as possible. A few black lines appeared on Yi Hua's brows. If I were to let go of the other party just like this, I would have to let go of my wife countless of times already. Alright. You don't have to get involved in other people's family matters. Your honor, look at you, wronged look, alright, don't say anymore, today is a welcoming dinner for you, don't make me scold you. Yi Hua said coldly. Pig Liver Macaque pouted his mouth, then said respectfully, "Subordinate obeys." Yi Hua sneakily took a look at Dong Fang Yu, Looking at this wronged look, Pig Liver Macaque, will definitely find evidence and free you, from this matter. This Zhu Tian isn't a human. He bullies others like this. He is too vicious. He must have definitely been bullied by Brett, thus, he decided to take revenge on you, He is too shameless. Very quickly, the dishes were served, and all of the dishes were made by Blood Demon. As a royal chef, it was still very difficult for everyone to eat Blood Demon's dishes. This is the taste of home. End of this chapter. Chapter 1190. Yihua raised his wine cup and said gravely, recently, the group has been a bit depressed. Tonight, let's play. After a few more days. Those who are going to train their bodies. We are going to set off soon. Your Honor, subordinate has something to report. Zhu Tian stood up and said gravely. What is it? Dongfang Yuan is withdrawing from the training this time. Zhu Tian said respectfully. No. Dongfang Yuan, who was sitting at the side, immediately said firmly. Pig Liver Macaque didn't say anything. Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows. Have the two of you finished discussing it? We have, you won't be going. As the head of a family, Zhu Tian had the right to speak. However, this time, Dongfang Yuan didn't seem to be so easy to deal with. No, Your Honor, I want to go. Dongfang Yuan said lightly. Her tone was clearly firm, but Dongfang Yuan said it to be soft. Zhu Tian looked at Dongfang Yuan, and said lightly, you, don't mess around. Be obedient. No. You. Do you believe that I won't slap you? Zhu Tian raised his little paw and threatened. Pig Liver Macaque shouted out, Your Honor. Look at Zhu Tian. Everyone, quickly look, little sister Yu, is simply living in an abyss of suffering. Everyone, Dongfang Yuan, lowered her head and even slightly closed her eyes, enduring Zhu Tian's slap. Brett, who was at the side, couldn't bear it anymore. Zhu Tian, what are you doing? You are even hitting her. Zhu Tian was also angered just now. Dongfang Yuan had always been obedient, and for her to suddenly resist, Zhu Tian wasn't used to it. Since little sister Yu wants to go, then let her go. What's the point of you stopping her? Brett said a sentence of fairness. Dongfang Yuan looked towards Brett with a grateful expression. Finally, someone is speaking up for me. Brett, you. Zhu Tian felt a bit uncomfortable. Are these women going to rebel? Yihua took a deep breath and said faintly, everyone has the right to make their own decisions. Yu is not your slave, she has her own choice, even if she can't come back this time. Thank Your Honor for understanding you, Dongfang Yuan said with a smile. Absolute Heaven shut himself off. Wasn't I doing this for your own good? Alright, this matter shall end here. Today, there isn't any difference between a superior and a subordinate, ha! Yihua shouted out and took the lead to gulp down a mouthful of wine. Everyone present was a hero. Regardless of whether they were men or women, whether they were human or not, all of them were speechless. Slowly, the atmosphere began to become lively. It was a pity that Lai Gu wasn't here, if not, Yihua would definitely be ridiculed. Only this fellow, Lai Gu, dares to tease his honor, the others are still rather steady. Your Honor, to be honest, they are really going to split up. The Pig Liver Macaque said drunkenly. Absolute Heaven was also a little drunk. He immediately heard Pig Liver Lizard's words, Pig Liver Lizard. What do you mean? Are you trying to poach him? A straightforward person doesn't resort to insinuations. I like your wife. Pig Liver Denglong stood up and shouted. The scene became quiet. Then, he began to brag again. There had been cases of people causing trouble after drinking before. Pig's liver. Believe it or not, I'll beat you until you can't take care of yourself. Yo ho. I don't believe it. Let's make a bet. What kind of bet? If I win, give me you air. If I lose, my life is yours. Pig Liver Ho's heroic spirit soared to the sky. At this time, he was especially serious. Everyone quieted down. Zhu Tian was stunned for a moment before he said in a cold voice, Good. I'm going to take your dog life. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The two of them were serious. Brett grabbed Absolute Heaven by the back of his neck. Is there something wrong with you? I bet on my wife. Dongfang Yuer bit her lips as her beautiful eyes became watery. How pitiful, she was used by absolute heaven to gamble. Pig-livered dandelion hurriedly said towards Yihua, "Your honor. You heard it just now. I, absolute heaven, have already agreed to it. As one of the 7 deadly sins. If word of this gets out, even Tan Kun can chase after him." And everyone heard it. Everyone immediately turned around and drank, as if it was none of their business. Even Yihua was astonished. Dong Huang Baiji, who was at the side, didn't know whether to laugh or cry. These people. After drinking, they don't even know what their surnames are anymore. Sure. Whoever was a coward was a grandson. I won't kill you. You've been staring at my wife since you came in. MD. It's all because of you. Absolute heaven became angry. This fellow has clearly taken a fancy to you, All right. Let's go out and do it right now. Pig-livered dandelion's face turned red. All right. Brett slapped onto absolute heaven's head, "Idiot. You are still a cat." After being slapped, absolute heaven seemed to have sobered up a lot. Where am I? What did I say just now? What's the matter? Say something. Don't you dare to any more. Pig-livered dandelion said aggressively, not giving in at all. Absolute heaven looked towards his honor, saying, "Your honor, please say something, I was just speaking nonsense just now." Absolute heaven then looked towards Dongfang Yu and discovered that Dongfang Yu was feeling very uncomfortable. Absolute heaven rubbed onto Dongfang Yu's hand, expressing that he was drunk just now and didn't have the intention to gamble with absolute heaven. This was the first time Dongfang Yu saw absolute heaven acting coquettishly. Even if you beat me to death just now, I would still be angry, the kind that can't be coaxed. Yihua said in a low voice, "All right, this is all nonsense after drinking, forget it. Pig-livered dandelion, sit down. Absolute heaven, you coward." Pig-livered dandelion stretched out both of his hands and flicked his middle finger at absolute heaven. This angered absolute heaven. "Fine. When I recover, I will take your life. I was just waiting for you to say this." Pig-livered dandelion snorted coldly. "All right. Are you two done arguing? Are the two of you sick?" Yihua shouted out, and only then did the two of them calm down. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun, who were sitting at the side, shook their heads. These two idiots. Originally, I thought that after Pig-livered dandelion came back, it would be a bit quieter, but I didn't expect that the moment this fellow came back, he would cause trouble. He actually took a fancy to absolute heaven's you, My God. And he even wanted to gamble his life with absolute heaven. He is sick, he is very sick. Afterward, the atmosphere became a bit quiet. Drinking without an atmosphere is a very awkward thing. Thus, Yihua didn't plan to continue drinking anymore. All right, let's stop here for today. Everyone, disperse. Yihua said gravely. His mood was bad again. Also, if the two of you were to act recklessly, you will have to bear the consequences. Everyone who wants to go and train their bodies. Since you have already signed up. All of you, go. I have given you two a chance. Now, I am not giving you two a chance anymore. Whether you two will live or die will be up to your luck. Yihua said coldly. However, right at this moment, Sun Fang saw that Death Mage was acting a bit strangely. What's wrong? Sun Fang asked concernedly. GGG, Imperial Translation, Master is calling me. Red light could be seen emitting out from Death Mage's eyes as he suddenly stood up, giving everyone a fright. End of this chapter. Chapter 1191. Yihua looked at Death Mage with his brows tightly knitted. Your Honor, everyone, this atmosphere is really good. Death Mage could be heard speaking in human language. Everyone was shocked, speechless. This is still Wei Chang's voice. The one who was the most shocked was Tang Wei. How could I not know Wei Chang's voice? But, Uncle Wei's voice, why did it become so frivolous, and even very evil? Tang Wei, who was originally going to be happy, felt that things weren't that simple. Yi Hua's face did not have any fluctuation. If I were to have any expression on my face right now, I would be giving the enemy a chance to laugh at me. LV Liang and Yi Hong were also incomparably shocked. This is really Uncle Wei's voice, it feels like he is a villain. Didn't Uncle Wei go missing? Why did he let Mage Brother Death Mage come and pass on my message? Your Honor, subordinate hasn't even returned yet, and you are already having a celebration. Death Mage spoke in human language with a strange tone, causing everyone's hair to stand on end. So it is Pig Liver Denglong who has returned, no wonder Your Honor is in such a good mood today. Other than a few important people who knew that Wei Chang had rebelled, the others actually didn't know about it. Therefore, towards Wei Chang's strange words, everyone was very surprised. Uncle Wei, how can you use this kind of tone to speak to His Honor? Where are you? Tang Wei couldn't help but shout out. If His Honor gets angry, you will have to beg for forgiveness again. Death Mage looked towards Tang Wei and opened his mouth, seemingly as if he was smiling. Xiao Tang, it has been many days since we last met, you have become a bit skinny. Wei Chang said lightly, but no one could hear the concern in his tone. Uncle Wei, just what are you trying to do? Don't use this kind of tone to speak to me anymore, if not, His Honor will really get angry. Let him be angry then. Wei Chang said gravely. Everyone took in a breath of cold air. Wei Chang actually addressed His Honor as him. This is a huge disrespect towards His Honor. Furthermore, from what Wei Chang said, everyone could tell that Wei Chang might have already. The people who had a good relationship with Wei Chang were immediately confused. Why would Uncle Wei be like this? Tang Wei's face was pale, and she was on the verge of collapsing. If not for Li Hun supporting her, she might have already fainted. Pig Liver Denglong sneered, Wei Chang, I didn't expect that after not seeing you for more than 10 years, you have already changed. Today, you have made me feel that you are very interesting. Pig Liver, people change. This is the human nature that I've learned. Your Honor, am I right? A faint killing intent emerged from the Pig Liver macaque, Wei Chang. Don't let me see you, or you'll die. Pig Liver meat, I am looking forward to that day, don't you think so, Your Honor? Yi Hua said faintly, Wei Chang, properly cherish the time that you have left, because there isn't much time left. Your Honor, your method of threatening others is still as lowly as always. I'm much better now. Because I'm going to kill you. Wei Chang said with a cold intent. The temperature of the whole room seemed to have dropped. When Tang Wei heard these words, she felt as if she was struck by lightning, and her head was buzzing. Uncle Wei, what's wrong with you? That's definitely not what you want. Tang Wei said in disbelief. She was completely unable to accept such a thing. Back then, she had followed Uncle Wei because she saw that Uncle Wei was an honest person. After so many years, Uncle Wei had taken good care of her. Uncle Wei is definitely a super good husband. Other than not being able to satisfy you, Uncle Wei is able to satisfy everything else. Wei Chang turned his head and looked towards Tang Wei, then said lightly, Xiao Tang, you are still innocent right now, you should find someone else. Hearing these words, Tang Wei didn't dare to believe it. Even everyone was unable to believe it. Could it be that the reason why Wei Chang didn't touch Tang Wei all this while was because he knew that I was going to betray him? If that's the case, everything would make sense. Wei Chang's betrayal wasn't just a spur of the moment, he had been thinking about it for a long time. Even Dong Huang Baiji felt the same way. In the past, Tang Wei would always come and find me for a chat, but from the looks of it now, in actuality, Yi Hua also didn't expect that things would actually turn out like this. However, the truth was right in front of my eyes. A betrayal is a betrayal, there's nothing much to say. Tang Wei couldn't take the blow anymore and fainted. Her head felt like it was going to split open. Words like heart-tearing and lung-splitting were no longer enough to describe what Tang Wei was feeling right now. Wei Chang let out a light sigh. Women are always so sentimental, why can't they just part on good terms? You can scram now. Yi Hua said coldly. Of course I will, but I have to bring my underlings away. I am a bit lacking in manpower right now. Wei Chang said lightly. The meaning behind his words was that he was going to bring Death Mage away. This caused everyone's expression to darken. Sun Fang immediately shouted out, Wei Chang. You dare. Sun Fang, he is my underling. To put it bluntly, he is just a skeleton that I summoned. Even if he dies, I can still continue to summon him out. Wei Chang. Sun Fang shouted out angrily. Death Mage bowed towards everyone, GGG, Imperial Translation, I'm sorry, everyone. After finished speaking, Death Mage disappeared from where he was. Sun Fang wanted to hug onto Death Mage, but in the end, she only managed to grab onto air. At this moment, the air froze, and no one said anything. Only a faint sobbing sound could be heard. The sobbing sound came from Sun Fang, and Tang Wei immediately fainted. Yi Hong and Lv Liang didn't know what to say, and the image of Uncle Wei in the past kept replaying in their minds. That Uncle Wei was so amiable, even if you did something wrong, he would still come and console you and enlighten you. However, what happened just now? Lv Liang and Yi Hong were unable to understand. They were completely unable to understand. Yi Hua said gravely, it is just like what everyone has seen. Wei Chang has already betrayed everyone. After finished speaking, Yi Hua disappeared from where he was. I didn't expect that Wei Chang would even want to bring Death Mage away. I reckon that Yi Hua just wanted to use Death Mage to satisfy his craving for words. Seeing that Yi Hua had left, Dong Huang Baiji followed after him. Yi Hua still has to watch over Death Mage properly. If not, what should I do if he takes things too hard? After Yi Hua left, all of the subordinates became lifeless and lifeless. Something like betrayal would only cause the morale of everyone to become low. Furthermore, the one who betrayed was Wei Chang, and Death Mage was gone as well. A strange atmosphere pervaded the entire team. Everyone didn't leave, they just sat there quietly and accepted this fact. However, in the southern region, a bonfire was lit on the vast and empty yellow sand, and a few people were surrounding the bonfire and enjoying their dry rations. These people were naturally Long Outyen and the others. After coming out, Long Outyen had always been on Long Outyen's back, because he heard that there was a place called Wushu Empire in the north, and that place seemed to be very safe. Therefore, he wanted to go over and take a look. However, that place was very far away, and if he were to walk with his child, it would probably take him a few years, or even more than 10 years. That place was too far away. Are we really going to Wushu Empire? Jiu Yi asked gravely. Long Outyen saw that Jiu Ye's expression was a bit strange, so he asked curiously, Jiu Yi, what are you doing? I'm sweeping the tombs during the Qingming festival, that's why I'm late. End of this chapter. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.